We can start, sir.
तुम लोग आपस में कर लिया ना उसका
Sir, as per the M2M, we have the welcome address of CA Nitesh, sir. Sir, you can start with your welcome address, and after that we can go ahead.
A very good morning, everyone. On the Sunday morning, so many members had joined in the 9th program of the View Exchange. So thank you everyone for joining the program. Thank you, Sushil Bhaiya, Akhil ji, Sanjay da, Rajesh ji. You all, in spite of your busy schedule, has consented and joined today also, so that members can enrich with your experience and knowledge. So thank you everyone. Welcome each one of you. Maybe today it is the 9th program and members are maybe less today, but I'm sure that thousands, 3,000, 4,000 members are watching on afterwards on our YouTube channel also. So in this way your knowledge are spreading. So thank you everyone for joining today and helping the members to come out with the issues which have arisen due to this the new amendments as far as charitable trust is concerned. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Now I would request our own CB Sinha sir to introduce our first speaker for the day, Sushil sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Good morning, everyone. Myself, CA Chandruhanu Sinha, one of the executive member. It's my heartiest pleasure to welcome CA Sushil Kumar Pransukhaji. He has qualified as chartered accountant in 1984 and has more than 38 years of professional experience. During his professional career, he has been advisor of different corporate charitable institutions in the field of direct and indirect taxation. He also advises different corporate on issues like merger, demerger, and business restructuring and taxation implications. He is also expert in family settlements and taxation advisor for family settlements. During his professional career, he was elevated as member of Income Tax Appellate Tribunal. He is past president of Association of Corporate Advisors and Executives and members of different professional associations. Presently, he is member of Direct Tax Committee of ICAI. He regularly appears before ITAT and other appellate authorities. Welcome to Shri Sushil Kumar Pransukhaji, sir.
Thank you.
Hand it over to,
Thank you so much, sir. Now I would like to take the honor and privilege to introduce Akhil sir. Akhil sir is in practice since 1992. Dr. Akhil Jindal is a senior partner of Jindal and Company and works out of the firm's Delhi office. He has been the recipient of Delhi Ratan Award in professional category in 2009, recipient of Faculty Award from NIRC. He has been a regular contributor to financial journals like Economic Times, Financial Express, and Outlook. He has been associated with the column Money Worries, appearing in Economic Times on Sunday. He has authored a book on exemptions for NPOs and has written various papers on restructuring in bank risk-based audit. He is Vice Chairman, Society, All India Institute of Management Studies and Research. Sir has been the central auditor of several banks and PSUs. Also, he has presented papers in various conference, seminar, debates on corporate and taxation matters associated with ICAI, NIRC, ILLM, and whatnot. With these words, all of us welcome you, sir. Thank you so much. Next, I would take the honor to introduce Mehta, sir. CA Rajesh Mehta, sir, has been practicing since 1996 and is based in Indore. He is Secretary General for the year 2023 of All India Federation of Tax Practitioners. He is a renowned direct tax speaker across India on several issues, especially on HUF and charitable trust. Sir has completed his higher secondary and graduation from Rajasthan. He has been awarded by the then Chief Minister of Rajasthan, Shri Hari Dev Joshi, and Governor of Rajasthan, Shri O.P. Mehra, on achieving rank in merit list of Rajasthan Higher Secondary Board Examination 1985. He has contributed several articles in newsletters, magazines, and online tax forums. Thank you so much, sir.
Friends, we नवीन कुछ बोल रहे थे क्या?
हो गया sir. You can.
Friends, we also have CA Sanjay Bhattacharya, sir. Lots of experience, maybe for 30 years plus experience in the charitable trust issues. I guess is a very renowned speaker of our region. He has written so many articles in so many professional magazines and spoken in hundreds of forums. So thank you. He's today is with us from Bangalore. Thank you, sir. In spite of your holiday, you are with us. Welcome you, sir. With this, may I request Sushil, sir, who is ex-ITAT member, very renowned speaker of our region, to kindly start, sir, please.
Thank you, Nitesh ji, Sinha ji, and Naveen Singhal ji for giving my introduction. And I must tell you that we very fondly call Nitesh ji our Hanuman ji. I am saying because one of my colleagues is saying that he can break the wall with the Chaini. Chaini means this thing. So why I am saying so? He has unleashed the series of lecture meetings on the charitable institutions, taxation of charitable institutions, and rightly so, because there is a spate of amendments in the charitable amendments in the recent past that has caught the attention of the professionals at large and the clients. And of course, these amendments, coupled with the twin judgments of Supreme Court in Ahmedabad Urban Authority and Noble Society, has made a paradigm shift in the charitable taxation. And we must know, and Nitesh ji has very much realized this aspect, that there must be some lot of queries, and then Form 10B and 10BB. Friends, day before yesterday, I had logged in Institute's program, where Rajesh Mehta ji was also there, and found him that he was very, very meticulously answering all the questions, which if I would have been there, I would not answer all the questions, because I have not gone through the 10BB at least. And at least 6,500 members had logged in that time. There was raining of the questions. There still some questions were left unanswered. So then I felt that Nitesh ji, I asked Nitesh ji, why you are holding what are the issues, so many programs you are holding every Sunday? And he was pressuring me also to come one of the Sunday. So I thought that I also must join. At least at the cost of repetition, I will be saying whatever already been discussed. There is nothing new I will be going to say. But at least I will repeat some of the amendments and the judgments of the Ahmedabad Urban Authority in respect of general public utility, so that in the ensuing return filing season, members can be appraised of the amendments and can have very fruitful engagement with the clients and rightly read the form. Because if any slight mistake in filing the form, now CPC may come out with the addition and you may land in the problem. So I am very sure, and I am very lucky that I am joined by two very learned speakers, Mr. Rajesh Mehta ji and Nikhil ji, who will take care of the questions. So at this opportunity, I am taking the opportunity only to I am going to some of the very critical amendments which have come before 2-3 years. So friends, basically charitable trusts, a charitable job is done by the government. And we all know that government sources are very scarce. So very private NGOs have come very heavy role to play in the society for well-being of the society. And rightly government has given the exemption to the charitable trusts. And these exemptions are being misused. We must admit that. And government intention is that if you are doing charity, you must do charity. And if you look at the provisions now, after the amendments, then you will find that if you are doing real charity, you have no issue. If you want to circumvent any of the provisions, then there are real issues which have been plugged. And what are the issues which have been plugged? That I will say. And in the aftermath of the amendments, very simple structure has come. If you are really doing charity, what is the income of the charitable trust? So I will point out some of the fundamental issues which we all know. But before starting of that taking critical issues, I will take only the fundamental issue at the cost of repetition only. That if you have 100 rupees of income from trust property, the income from trust property, there is a must. That is exempt. No other income is exempt if income is not exempt emanating from the trust property. What is the income from trust property? If it is voluntary contribution, that has been deemed to be the income from trust property, dividend income, interest income, rental income, and incidental business income. These are the income from the trust property. And these, you are having these incomes in simplicity of form, then you have to apply it for the charitable purposes. For which object your charitable service form. So it is very simple. If you are having 100 rupees of income, government expects you that you at least spend 25% of your income on the charitable object. There is no issue. You don't give any donation to any trust. Don't give a donation to any purpose of the trust. Don't take any donations. You take donations but spend only for the objects. Then there is no issue. But issues crop up only when you divert from your objects. You divert your fund to the other trust. Then so what are the conditions? You spend 85%, and there is no harm and there is no impediment if you are expending more than 85% also. So 50% is the minimum accumulation amount which you can accumulate, but 85% amount you have to spend on the charitable objects. And in case if you are not able to spend 85% for the reason that income has not been received, and you want to accumulate for a further of 5 years, which is a restriction, then you can accumulate it by filing for number 9, 8, 10. That privilege is also there. That is the benefit also available. So government has kept very much in mind that there may be conditions that you are not able to spend 85%. Then you can accumulate it for next year or next 5 years. And then you can spend it that year. If you are not able to, because that is only a deferment of taxes. You have had income in this year and you have not spent it, then you are liable to pay tax. But since you have not accumulated it, government is giving you additional leeway to accumulate it for the 5 years, and you are expected to spend it that year. If you are not expending that year, then it becomes taxable in the hands of the trust. So friends, what are the conditions? You spend 85% and you are supposed not to part your fund with any other corpus of any other trust. And if you are parting your fund to another trust as a current donation, there is also restriction of 85%, because whatever money you are donating to another trust as a current donation, then also only 85% of that amount will be considered as application of income. That is a restriction has also come from this year. And recent amendment also covers that depreciation, which have been allowed by the various court judgments. Although we have been very advocative in the financial circuits that this is going on wrong, but a trust cannot claim the application of asset as an income and depreciation also. That can be done, cannot be double. For ultimately the amendment has come and depreciation has been done. And then there one more lacuna was there, that court had, even Supreme Court has held that excess application can be carried forward. That has also been stopped. So these are the 4-5 things. These are very, very basic funda of the charitable trust taxation. If you keep in mind, then there is no issue involved. Then I am coming to the critical changes which have come this taxation to plug the loopholes in the taxation system. Friends, I am dividing discussion in 2 parts. That what are the specified violations. Now, institute had divided the loopholes in 2 parts. If they are a specified violation, then you may lose registration. And if you lose registration, then there is very heavy penalty, heavy cost in the form of 115 TD. And your whole assets, fair value of assets minus liabilities, can be subject to tax 115 TD. So we have to very, very careful that you are not violating any of the specified value condition. And in another basket, I am discussing that what are the specified income which has been sought to be applied to taxation as a special rate of tax 115 BBI. So these are the main 2 issues which I have tried to focus, that you should not, one trust should not try to circumvent any of the specified violation, which is now the part of the Form 10AC also. And the other part is that you have any specified income because of violation of some provisions, then there is no cancellation of the trust, but you are liable to pay tax at the rate of 30%, 115 BBI. So I am sharing my screen on to put my points on the specified violation. What are the specific violations? Nitesh ji,
हाँ भैया
ये showing host disabled participant screen sharing.
सर को होस्ट बनाना पड़ेगा.
नवीन,
सुशील जी को को होस्ट बनाइए जब होगा, देन ही विल बी शेयर.
नहीं को होस्ट तो ही है. नवीन, एक सेकंड भैया, एक सेकंड. एक्चुअली नवीन ही है ना, तो वही बना सकते. हेलो नवीन, जल्दी से सोशल भी आपको होस्ट बना. अरे वो रुका हुआ है तो
उनको स्क्रीन शेयरिंग राइट दे दीजिए ना नितेश जी.
Okay, wait a little. I'm bringing my book from. My book.
नवीन,
Yes, sir.
क्या हुआ? उनको होस्ट बना दो ना सुशील भी.
नहीं वो होस्ट बन चुके हैं.
बन चुके हैं.
होस्ट आगे ही बना देना चाहिए था ना बाबू, बताया हुआ है. बताओ, सेमिनार चल रहा है उसके बीच में ये भी. भैया आप होस्ट हैं, आप ट्राई कीजिए. सुशील भैया एक बार ट्राई कीजिए, होस्ट हैं आप, आपका हो जाना चाहिए. देखो बाकी स्पीकर सब है ना को होस्ट, उनको
हाँ सर, सबको कर दिया।
अखिल जिंदल जी को करो, अखिल जिंदल जी। हाँ भैया, आ रहा है।
Just
ये जूम का आ गया, लेकिन आप पहले में जाइए, मेल में जा रहे हैं क्या? हाँ, इसको डाउन करके ना।
डेस्कटॉप, हमें डेस्कटॉप में
हाँ
आ गया।
हाँ हाँ।
तो फर्स्ट income from trust property has been applied other than for the objects of the trust or the institution. Sorry, I just bad throat. So if any income from trust property is applied for other objects for which this trust has not been established, then that will be a specified valuation. Income from trust property under trust applied for private religious purposes, income for benefit of any particular religious community or caste, activities carried are not genuine, non-compliance with other laws, income from profit gains of business which are not incidental to the attainment of its objectives, no separate books of account for business incidental to the attainment of objectives, activities are not carried out in accordance with any condition subject to which is registered. And one more condition has been added in last year budget, that if application form for registration contains any false or incorrect information. So these are the specified valuations. So one must see that your activities are genuine, fund must not be spent for other objects, other laws must be complied with, and we must not have the profit and gains from the business unless it is incidental business. And consequence of is that under 12 AB4, that if there is a specified valuation, then it will take to your cancellation of the registration. And cancellation of registration in turn takes you to 115 TD. The very, very serious implications of that if there is a specified valuation, there will be taxation at maximum marginal rate under section 115 TD. Then how the assessing officer, how the commissioner or how the commissioner exemption will come to know about the specified valuation. For this very, very important amendment has been brought in 143(3), that during the assessment stage itself, assessing officer, if notices there is a specified valuation, he may refer it to the CIT exemption for cancellation of the registration. And if commissioner receives such reference, then within 6 months, commissioner may call for information, documents, list of activities, etc., and examine whether cancellation has to be done. And commissioner shall give the reasonable opportunity for hearing. And after receiving the order from the CIT, assessing officer shall pass the order taking effect the finding of the commissioner income tax. So by this way, commissioner will come to know that where there is a specified valuation. From friends, until this year, there was no provision of referring to the CIT exemption under 43(3). Very, very important amendment. So now I presume that lot of litigations going to in charitable arena, charitable taxation arena.
All the participants are please expected to mute themselves. Thank you.
115 BBI. So next aspect I wanted to cover, that if there are some specified income, which means that if any income amount applied outside India, 1111C, or there is a default in option and accumulation, 9A and 10, then that income is also coming under the 115 BBI. If there is benefit to the specified person, so section 13 gives some restrictions from the exclusion of the total income if there is some unreasonable profit to the specified persons. And then 13(1)D, investment other than the 11(5). So each and every aspect, every fund of the institution has to remain funded in the 11(5) mode. And income accumulated set apart in excess of 15% of the income, where income accumulation is not allowed under any specific provisions of the Act. So if any amount is accumulated more than 50%, that will also come within the 115 BBI. So these are two main aspects where important changes have come. We must keep in mind while filling the form 15B and BB, the specified violation and 150 BBI. These are the two aspects I wanted to cover. Then there are some improvements in the corpus, taxation of corpus. Friends, earlier what we used to do, that we used to receive corpus, then used to spend it and claim it as an application of income. And so the relevancy of the corpus and meaning of the corpus had not been there. That's why the amendment came that once you receive the corpus from any person, then that fund must remain invested in 11(5) mode. Land and building or other assets, fixed deposit, bonds, government, mutual funds, whatever is there. So if there is a violation of that 113(1)D, then also it comes within the purview of the 115 BI that I have already covered. Then this corpus I was speaking of, that corpus must remain invested in 11(5). Now the amendment has come that after corpus created after 1/4/21, if at all you have a spent amount as a claimed as application applied but not claimed as application, corpus amount you have applied but not claimed as application, that you can do it, but you have to replenish the corpus in the next year or before 5 years. By the recent amendment, they have put a limit of 5 years. Within 5 years, if you replenish the corpus, then in that year, you can claim it as exemption, application of income. So income is exempt co-application. So unlike in business expenditure, we claim expenditure against the income, but in charitable trust, against expenditure, we claim exemption of the income. So corpus amendment is very important. We must keep in mind that if corpus is applied but not claimed application, then if you in the year in which you are replenished the corpus, then you will claim application. Same is the thing with the loan and borrowing. Loan and borrowing, if you has taken 1/4/21 before, after outstanding loan as per 1/21 and corpus also 1/4/21, then if you apply later on, then you cannot claim as application. But I have different view on that. That law may say, but that there cannot be disparity among the loan and borrowing and the corpus outstanding before 1/4/21 and 1/4/21, because in respect of loan and borrowing, earlier we also used to claim application, and in the year when loan was repaid, we used to claim application. So we can not deprived by the subsequent amendment, but it is my view only. I don't know how far it will be success, but this is my view only. So in the loan and borrowing also, in the year you are taking loan after 1/21 and applying it for charitable objects and not claiming as exemption. Suppose for any reason you have to apply for by construction of building or for anything, that you can very well apply, but it will not allowed as a application of income. In the year only in which it is repaid, only then in that case, in that year you will be entitled to apply that loan or borrowing as an application. So these are the important amendments I want to highlight, and these are very much forming part of the Form 10BB. And I think these main core issue I have touched, which will very helpful in filling the Form 10B and 10BB. And the last, I want to take up the general public utility in view of the judgment of the Ahmedabad Urban Authority. Very brief, I will touch Ahmedabad Urban Development Authority judgment. Friends, in respect of taxation of general publicity aspects, in definition 215, there are several limbs we all know. I'm not saying any new thing. But the last limb, general public utility, is very important. We were must concerned with, and judgment of Ahmedabad Urban Authority is a Bible in itself, so far dealing in the general public utility. It has opened the eyes of many professionals, clients, and the way they are behaving in the general public utility arena. We must mend their ways, otherwise we are going to see very painful days ahead. Because very clearly, Ahmedabad Urban Judgment had said that you cannot do business in the form of general public utility, in the form of charity. If you are doing charity, you must do charity. Charity is what? You are doing anything free. And very well, Supreme Court has espoused these issues, that either you do charity free of cost or you do at cost by nominal markup. You cannot charge more than the nominal markup happily. Although Supreme Court has not spelled out anything, what will be the nominal markup and what will be the substantial market. But as a true professionals and businessmen, we must know what is nominal markup and what is the substantial markup, which will come within the ambit of the business of professions. So friends, section 215 coupled with the judgment of the Ahmedabad clearly bars that general public utility, because other limbs, as per the Ahmedabad Urban Development Authority, are per se charities. They are not barred from doing any incidental business. But in case of general public utility, even any business cannot, in general GPU cannot involve in trade in business. What is trade in business? Very much judgment Supreme Court exposes it in a way that if you are charging more than the cost, then it will be caught under the business. I am giving an example. If you are having a marriage hall as a general public utility, then either you give it a free. Supreme Court has given an example also, that if you are giving it a free or you are giving it a cost, then it is a charity. Suppose your cost is rupees 10 and you are charging 30 rupees or 40 rupees, then it is becoming the business. That is completely barred. And only grace is that in a form of proviso, up to 20% you have been given leeway. That is also in actual carrying out of the general public utility. Per se, trade and business is complete bar. Suppose if marriage hall or any general public utility is some yoga, they cannot hold programs, they cannot hold any business ventures in the form of in the garb of the charity. Actual carrying out business means if you are giving the marriage hall, then you can charge markup more than nominal amount up to 20%, which is coming within 20% of total receipts. So we must keep in mind, and while filling the column number 15 of the GPU, I am touching only the 15 GPU because most of the professionals are grappling with this GPU thing, that how should we report business, how should we treat it incidental business. Friends, this we must read the Ahmedabad Urban Development Authority clearly said that what is incidental business. That should be inextricably linked with the main object. Any object without which main object is not possible. Then Supreme Court has given the example that in case of education, bus running, hostel running is the incidental business. Like that, we have to apply our mind whether it's incidental or not. But in case of GPU, that incidental is not also barred unless it is being actually carried out. So if you are doing yoga, I'm giving one more example. If you are doing yoga classes and you are charging yoga for the hefty amount, then you can do that only for up to 20%, not more than that. So friends, these things, so you have to tick your GPU column very, very diligently, that if you are mentioning yes or no in the GPU category, then it may land you in the problem. So friends, these are the things I wanted to highlight before answering the question answers by the another speaker if they want to add something to it. And I have not told any new thing, only I have reiterated my knowledge about this subject. Thank you, friends. Thank you for present here.
If any of the participants have any kind of question, you can please post in the chat box or raise your hand. One by one, we can unmute and ask the questions in case anyone has any question. Anup sir has question. Sir, please.
सुशील भैया रहेंगे और मैं क्वेश्चन नहीं पूछूंगा, ऐसा हो नहीं सकता है। सुशील भैया दो क्वेरी थी, एक तो फॉर्म नंबर 10B को लेकर के है, 13(3) में जो स्पेसिफाइड पर्संस हैं, तो बड़ी ट्रस्ट में तो आपको पता है सुशील भैया कि काफी देयर आर मेनी पीपल हु हैज कंट्रीब्यूटेड 50,000 एंड अबव ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम. But 13(3) as you also told कि 13(3) should be read in conjunction with 13(2) का जो उसमें जो provisos दिए हुए हैं कि they have been the person specified person has been paid or taken a benefit, then उनका नाम आएगा या जो 50,000 एंड अबव डोनेशंस दिए उनका सबका स्ट्रेट अवे नाम आएगा. यदि मैंने उनको कोई जमीन नहीं बेची, शेयर नहीं बेचा, कोई ट्रांजैक्शंस नहीं हुआ, माने there are specified people, there is no transactions of the trust with them. The trust has not neither sold any shares, neither sold any property, immovable property, और कोई FD सस्ते दाम में नहीं बेची, मैंने कोई ट्रांजेक्शन नहीं किया जो मेरे 4 या 5 क्लॉजेस में है, तब भी क्या मैं 13(3) में स्पेशल पर्सन का नाम दूंगा या नहीं दूंगा? I think my question is clear to you.
Yes, I am very, very clear to me. One more thing I want to add, Anup, and all that forms are not the law. Forms are just supportive of the law. So anything is sought in the form that is maybe mandatory for the taxation aspects of from the scrutiny point of view, but that was not land up in the addition of any income. So if any information is sought as per rule in the form, that we must give according, that is a mandatory requirement. So there is no harm in giving. There are specified person, we must give the name.
सुशील, दूसरा क्वेश्चन है कि जो ट्रस्ट की लीगल स्टेटस सोसाइटी है, देयर आर मेनी ट्रस्ट दोज हु आर नॉट रजिस्टर्ड अंडर इंडियन ट्रस्ट एक्ट, वो उनकी सोसाइटीज बनी हुई है, सोसाइटीज एक्ट में रजिस्ट्रेशन किया हुआ है. एंड एज संजय दा भी इस स्क्रीन में है एंड वो उनको भी जानकारी है कि सोसाइटीज एक्ट में कंप्लायंस ऑफ एनुअल रिपोर्ट्स लाइक फाइलिंग ऑफ द स्टेटमेंट ऑफ अकाउंट विद द सोसाइटीज अथॉरिटीज इज लिटिल टफ. एंड जहां पर कंप्लायंसेस सालों से कंप्लायंसेस हुए नहीं है, मतलब एनुअल रिपोर्ट्स वगैरह सोसाइटीज ऑफिस में जमा नहीं हो पाई है किन्हीं भी कारणों बस. और अभी नई परिस्थितियों में यदि हम लोग जमा देने जाते हैं तो उसमें काफी टेक्निकल अड़चने आती हैं. ये जो भी लोग सोसाइटी को डील करते हैं अच्छी तरह से जानते हैं. तो आपका एक है वो स्पेसिफाइड वायलेशंस में नोकला, नॉन कंप्लायंस विद एनी अदर एक्ट. तो मैं इनकम टैक्स, जीएसटी या प्रोविडेंट फंड, ईएसआई इन सब की बात नहीं कर रहा हूँ. यदि सोसाइटीज एक्ट में मेरा नॉन कंप्लायंस है जो मैं एनुअल फाइलिंग नहीं कर पा रहा हूँ फॉर द रीजंस बियॉन्ड माय कंट्रोल, वी ट्राइड आवर बेस्ट, we have sent our persons with the copies but they have refused to acknowledge. वो बोलते नहीं आप ऑनलाइन फाइल करो, और ऑनलाइन तभी फाइल होती है जब नंबर मिल जाते हैं, इलेक्ट्रॉनिक नंबर मिलते हैं तब ऑनलाइन फाइलिंग होती है यूजर आईडी पासवर्ड के द्वारा. तो ये नॉन कंप्लायंस विद सोसाइटीज एक्ट का जो है वो नोकला में आता है और 43 वाले क्लॉज में स्पेसिफाइड वायलेशन की कैटेगरी में भी आता है. आपका इस बारे में क्या ओपिनियन है सुशील भैया?
नहीं, मेरा ये कहना है कि कोई भी आप नॉन कंप्लायंस विद अदर लॉ है, आप सोसाइटी में रजिस्टर्ड हैं और आपकी कोई जेन्युइन डिफिकल्टी है, आप भेज रहे हैं वो ले नहीं रहा है या टेक्निकल मैनेज नहीं हो रहा, यू कीप रिकॉर्ड ऑफ इट. So I think law is not that harsh, that if you have some reasonable cause for non-compliance, so you can very well give note to it if it is at all required. That because of so many difficulties, so much difficulties, you are not able to apply that law. Then that will not come within the ambit of the this rigors of this provision.
थैंक यू भैया। तीसरा क्वेश्चन थोड़ा सा बचकाना वाला है, बट मतलब इस तरह से सेमिनार में जैसा मेरा कंसेप्ट मैंने क्लियर किया कि रिसिप्ट जो है हमारी इनकम जो है वो एक्रूअल बेसिस में लूंगा। जैसे मेंबर्स होते हैं, मेंबर्स के सब्सक्रिप्शन के बिल चले जाते हैं, तो वो उनका सब्सक्रिप्शन का अमाउंट वॉलेंट्री कंट्रीब्यूशन नहीं है, वो अदर रिसिप्ट में आता है। उनके बिल एनुअल बेसिस में रेज होते हैं। बहुत से मेंबर पैसा नहीं भी देते हैं, तो हम लोग उसको रिसीवेबल की कैटेगरी में डाल देते हैं। किंतु पेमेंट, जैसे आप लोगों ने कहा कि एप्लीकेशन शुड बी ऑन पेमेंट बेसिस, उसमें कोई भी लायबिलिटी वाला।
म्यूट हो गया अनूप जी, आपका म्यूट हो गया।
अनूप भाई आपका म्यूट है।
हाँ,
सॉरी। तो रिसिप्ट्स को भी क्या हमें एक्रूअल बेसिस में लेना है, या रिसिप्ट्स को भी हम लोग सिर्फ अपॉन एक्चुअल रिसिप्ट्स ही लेना है?
देखिए, अकाउंट्स में आप कुछ भी कर सकते हैं, लेकिन फॉर इनकम टैक्स पर्पस आप जो है इसको कैश बेसिस पे भी ले सकते हैं और एक्रूअल बेसिस पे भी ले सकते हैं। लेकिन एक्रूअल पे लेंगे तो आपको फिर वो इनकम यदि आपकी नहीं आती है तो आपको 9A भरना पड़ेगा, या आपको 11(2) का फॉर्म 10 भरना पड़ेगा। तो
भैया मेरी सेक्शन 8 कंपनी है, मुझे तो एक्रूअल बेसिस में इनकम में अकाउंटिंग करनी ही पड़ेगी।
अकाउंटिंग कर लीजिए,
कंपनी,
बट फॉर द पर्पस ऑफ इनकम टैक्स यू कैन मेक योर रेसिडेंट पेमेंट अकाउंट ऑन एक्चुअल बेसिस।
ओके भैया, थैंक यू भैया।
Can I add something?
Yeah.
Mr. Murali?
हाँ, अखिल सर बोलिए ना।
Only I wanted to add with regard to your list of the specified person. We will have to go to the rule 17AA. 17AA says that is part of the books of account that the institution has to maintain, and the sub rule 9 of section 1, rule 17A1, rule 9 says that they have to maintain record of the specified person as referred to in subsection 3 of section 13. So the management or the institution has to maintain the full detail of their name, address, permanent account number, and whatever the details are available with them. And then they also have to maintain the transaction undertaken by the fund or institution or university with the specified person as per subsection 3 of section 13. So the onus and the responsibility of maintaining this detail is with the charitable trust and the institution or the society. So first they have to maintain, because when we say in the audit report that they are maintaining proper books of account, either we say they have not maintained or they have not fully maintained, but when we certify in our audit report, which is supposed to be true and correct, then we have to say that they have maintained the full details as per 13.3, and which includes the relatives of the person who have donated more than 50,000, the author, founder, trustee, or the managing committee or the governing body. And then now we have to go to our report or section form number 10B, which is clause 41, which gives detail of specified person as referred to in subsection 3 of section 13. So all these detail will have to be taken from the management, or we have to verify from the management and then mention in this column. And the last column says that if there is any transaction, they specify the amount of contribution made to the auditee that we have to maintain. So these are correlated with the books of account, and in my opinion, all the lists of specified person will have to be maintained by the institution if they have to say their proper books of accounts are being maintained. And as an auditor, we will also have to take information from that and have to mention in our audit report. We cannot say that if there is no transaction with a particular trustee or a person who has done governing body, we will not mention them in the report. That will not be a complete report, or that will not be a report as required under 10B. That was my submission on this with regard to this. Though we are facing a lot of problem because of this, and a lot of people do not want to give given their own details of PAN number and the relatives also, but they will have, over the years they will have to maintain if you have to comply with the law. Thank you.
Right. Very right.
हेलो सर, दूसरा क्वेश्चन सुशील भैया है रिगार्डिंग मेंटेनेंस ऑफ रिकॉर्ड्स अदर डॉक्यूमेंट्स फॉर 17 रूल, जो रूल 17AA की बात कर रहे थे अभी अखिल सर, उसमें दूसरा क्वेश्चन था मेंटेनेंस ऑफ रिकॉर्ड्स ऑफ प्रॉपर्टीज, particularly immovable properties. A trust having immovable properties across India, and now they are maintaining fixed assets register as per the Companies Act norms. Now the immovable property details separately maintain करने की बात कर रहा है रूल 17AA. So उसमें हमें क्या उसका ओरिजिनल कॉस्ट, उसमें कब कब क्या क्या ट्रांसफर हुई है प्रॉपर्टी, उसका क्या दाग नंबर है, खतियान नंबर है, मौजा नंबर है, मतलब वो कितना डिस्क्रिप्टिव होगा ये, लाइक फिक्स एसेट रजिस्टर में तो सिर्फ वैल्यू डाल देते हैं, छोड़ देते हैं, बट जब हम इमूवेबल प्रॉपर्टीज की बात करते हैं तो वो उसका लोकेशन, दाग नंबर, खतियान नंबर, LR नंबर, मतलब कन्वेंस डीड के काफी डिटेल्स आते हैं. इज दैट आल्सो मैंडेटरी? बिकॉज कहीं कहीं कुछ प्रिस्क्राइब नहीं किया हुआ है रूल 17AA में कि रिकॉर्ड ऑफ इमूवेबल प्रॉपर्टीज का एक्सटेंट क्या होगा. व्हाट इज द एक्सटेंट ऑफ रिकॉर्ड ऑफ प्रॉपर्टीज, इमूवेबल प्रॉपर्टीज मोर पर्टिकुलरली?
नहीं अनूप, इसमें brief description of the property will be sufficient. I think the name of the property, where it is situated, what is the area of the property, and what is the cost. And
Okay.
if you can give this location, where it is located, and dark number and all that in very brief, and there is always with you, then that will be sufficient, I think.
Okay. Thank you, Bill.
In any case, you are having those informations.
Sir, we have Narayan sir who is raising his hands. Sir, you can unmute and ask your question, sir. You are muted, sir. If anyone else has any other question. Sir, Ankur Mittal ji has a question. Ankur ji, you can unmute and
Yes.
ask.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good
सर
afternoon.
मेरा क्वेश्चन है सर, एक ट्रस्ट का FD CBI ने अपने कंट्रोल में लिया हुआ है, और लेकिन उसका ब्याज अक्रू हो रहा है.
क्या हो रहा है?
ब्याज अक्रू हो रहा है FDR का सर, हर
हाँ.
महीने, साल. अब वो TDS कैसे क्लेम करे, क्योंकि एक्चुअली इनकम तो मेरे को मिलता नहीं सर वो, और मिलेगा भी नहीं जब तक केस चलेगा.
नहीं, आप TDS को आप कैरी फॉरवर्ड कीजिए, एंड दिस इनकम को एक्रू मत कीजिए, इनकम को रिकॉग्नाइज मत कीजिए. जब आपका मेटर डिस्प्यूट में है, अनलेस इट इज सेटल्ड, देन यू आर नॉट बाउंड टू एक्रू दैट इंटरेस्ट अमाउंट. डोंट ट्रीट एज एन इनकम.
तो
It is
सर
my advice.
TDS भी नहीं क्लेम करना चाहिए फिर इस केस में सर?
TDS आप यू कैन कैरी ओवर ना.
बट सर केस ऐसा एक्चुअली उसमें पता ही नहीं कब सेटल होएगा केस. CBI के साथ मैटर चल रहा है, पिछले 10 साल से चल रहा है सर.
दैट 10 साल चल रहा है तो चलने दीजिए. सो जब तक कैरी फॉरवर्ड करना करिए, आपको वो TDS रिफंड तो मिलेगा नहीं जब तक आप इनकम दिखलाइएगा नहीं. और इनकम दिखाइएगा नहीं तब तक फिर आपको वो एप्लीकेशन आपने कर पाइएगा.
ये प्रॉब्लम आ रहा है सर.
ये प्रॉब्लम आ रहा है तो आपको फिर टैक्स देना पड़ेगा.
तो TDS भी क्लेम ना करें उसको.
राजेश जी और निखिल जी.
हाँ जी सर, ये क्वेरी एक तो विद रिगार्ड टू दैट इमूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी, जो रूल 17AA है उसमें बड़ा क्लियरली मेंशन है कि क्या क्या हमें मेंटेन करना है. नेचर, एड्रेस ऑफ द प्रॉपर्टी, कॉस्ट ऑफ एक्विजिशन ऑफ असेट, रजिस्ट्रेशन डॉक्यूमेंट, ट्रांसफर ऑफ सच प्रॉपर्टी. तो मेरी तो यही रिक्वेस्ट है सब प्रोफेशनल कोलीग से कि हमारे लिए अब बुक्स अकाउंट जो है 17 रूल 17AA बाइबल है, और उसमें जो स्पेसिफिक मेंशन करा गया है उस हिसाब से इंस्टीट्यूशंस को और जितने भी हमारे क्लाइंट्स उनको एडवाइस करें कि वो बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट मेंटेन उसी हिसाब से, बिल्कुल जैसे कहते हैं ना, बिल्कुल एक एक वर्ड और उसकी इंटरप्रिटेशन पूरा पढ़ के उसको मेंटेन करें आप. और उसके बाद हमें, क्योंकि ऑडिट रिपोर्ट में भी उसको सर्टिफाई करना है ट्रू एंड करेक्ट, जो फॉर्म 10 भी है, तो बड़ा इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाता है. वहीं से हम सारी इंफॉर्मेशन लें तो दोनों बड़ी कोहेरेंटली रहें. मेरे ख्याल से जो सेकंड क्वेरी है, मेरा कनेक्शन ड्रॉप हो गया था, दिस इज विद रिगार्ड टू द एक्यूरल ऑफ इनकम, कि एक्यूरल इनकम को हम कैसे मेंटेन करें या कैसे हमें करना पड़ेगा, तो मेरा सजेशन ये कि जो करंट बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट हैं करंटली बिकॉज ऑफ 26 ईयर्स, सारे इंस्टीट्यूशन एक्यूरेट बेसिस पे अकाउंट मेंटेन कर रहे थे और वो डिपार्चर कैश फ्लो से, कैश सिस्टम ऑफ अकाउंटिंग से एक्यूरेट सिस्टम ऑफ अकाउंटिंग में आ गए थे। अब काफी इंस्टीट्यूशन जो लार्ज इंस्टीट्यूशन हैं, हम ये रियलाइज कर रहे हैं कि दोबारा से वो कैश सिस्टम ऑफ अकाउंटिंग पर आ रहे हैं, बिकॉज जो इनकम टैक्स लॉ ने ये कहा है कि जो एप्लीकेशन है वो तो आपको केवल एक्चुअली स्पेंड बेसिस पे मिलेगी, विच इज कैश बेसिस। अगर आपका वो बुक्स बैंक अकाउंट से या कैश अकाउंट से वो आपका अमाउंट आउट हो गया है, तभी आपको वो पेमेंट बेसिस पे, तभी आपको उसका एप्लीकेशन मिलेगा। बट इनकम के लिए कहीं भी वो रूल नहीं लाए हैं कि वो केवल आपको एक्चुअल बेसिस पे होगी। उसके लिए स्पेसिफिकली उनके 2 क्लॉजेज हैं एक्युमुलेशन के, जो 11(2) और रूल 9 है, कि अगर आपको इनकम एक्रू हो रही है और आपने रिसीव नहीं करा है तो आप फॉर्म 9A भर सकते हैं, और जब वो आपको रिसीव होगी तब एक्चुअल में आपकी इनकम मानी जाएगी। एक तो फॉर्म 9A है जो उसके लिए एक्युमुलेशन 11 के अंदर, दूसरा जो आप इनकम एक्युमुलेट करके विद इन नेक्स्ट 5 इयर्स अप्लाई कर सकते हैं, उसके लिए 11(2) है। तो इस केस में जहां पे आपका एफडीआर गवर्नमेंट ने सीज कर लिया है और उसमें आपको रिसीट नहीं हो रही है, आई फील दैट जो फॉर्म 9A है वो अप्रोप्रिएट रहेगा और उसमें आप उसको भरें, क्योंकि आपको इनकम रिसीव नहीं हो रही है, एक्रू हो रही है, और जब भी इंस्टीट्यूशन रिसीव करेगा तब उसको वो अप्लाई दिखा सकते हैं। और टीडीएस क्लेम के लिए ऑलरेडी इनकम टैक्स फॉर्म के अंदर चेंज आ गया है पिछले 1-2 सालों से, कि जो आप इस साल में इनकम दिखाएंगे, सर ने पहले कहा कि बिल्कुल जो इनकम आप दिखाएंगे उसी का आपको टीडीएस क्रेडिट मिलेगा 199 सेक्शन के अंदर। तो जो इनकम आपने इस साल नहीं दिखा रहे हैं उसको आप टीडीएस को कैरी ओवर कर सकते हैं, तो उसको वहां पे आप फॉर्म के अंदर भर सकते हैं, और जब जिस साल में आप इनकम दिखाएंगे तब आपको टीडीएस का क्लेम मिल जाएगा। आई थिंक दिस वाज माय व्यू ऑन दैट।
right.
राजेश जी, एनीथिंग यू वांट टू ऐड ऑन दैट?
फिर सर फॉर्म 9A क्या नेवर एंडिंग पीरियड का हो सकता है क्या? जैसे क्वेरिस्ट की जो क्वेरी थी, बिकॉज ऑफ द अकाउंट्स बीइंग फ्रोजन बाय सीबीआई, so now if they are continuously is non receipt of the fixed deposit interest which is being accrued over year to year, तो फॉर्म 9A जो है वो क्या परपेचुअलिटी में एप्लीकेबल होगा क्या सर?
हाँ, मेरा जो व्यू है कि 9A में यही रहता है कि जब आप फाइल करते हैं कि जब भी मुझे इनकम उसकी रियलाइज होगी तभी मैं उसको अपना इनकम शो करूंगा। फॉर्म 9A इसी पर्पज के लिए है, नॉट फॉर 1 year or 2 year. So let's say we have a FDR for 5 years or 10 years. So when that income will be realized and come to me, form 9A का पर्पस तो यही है जो मेरी अंडरस्टैंडिंग में है, and we have also used that for so many institutions also for at least more than 5 years.
Okay, thank you sir.
थैंक यू सर।
मतलब देयर ऑलरेडी इन द प्रोविजन इन द इनकम टैक्स लॉ काफी चीजें अवेलेबल हैं, मतलब यू हैव टू गो थ्रू देम, एंड वो ऑलरेडी एग्जिस्टिंग जो सर्कमस्टांसेस हैं उसके लिए उन्होंने वो सिचुएशंस दे रखी है, पर वो पर्टिकुलर क्लॉज में जाके हमें उसी हिसाब से उसको डील करना पड़ेगा। देन वी वी नॉट बी एंडेड अप विद अ सीपीसी और हाई टैक्स डिमांड। थैंक यू।
Thank you so much, sir. Sir, can we take one question in the chat box? If you permit, sir. Sir, the question is, 12A registered society received school building as general donation from another 12A registered society. How to show in donor society in Form 10B?
I should answer or निखिल जी आंसर?
नहीं सर, आप आंसर करिए सर, आपका अभी सेशन है सर, प्लीज सर।
मेरा सेशन खत्म नहीं हुआ क्या अभी तक?
वो तो चलता रहेगा सर।
उनका सेशन स्टार्ट कीजिए भाई। नहीं, इसमें क्या है, दिस इज डोनेशन इन काइंड, एंड डोनेशन काइंड इज आल्सो इनकम फ्रॉम ट्रस्ट प्रॉपर्टी, एंड सिंस दिस इज स्कूल बिल्डिंग दैट इज वेरी मच अलाउड इन 11(5), so you can show it is a corpus donation, and donor can give in later that this is a corpus and we show a investment. That is the only correct answer according to me. If any other thing Rajesh ji or Nikhil ji will add to it. Hello.
हेलो।
यस सर। सो देयरफॉर अगर कोई स्कूल बिल्डिंग डोनेट करता है तो इनका कहना है कि डोनर के 10B में हमको कैसे बताना है। सो दिस इज ए एप्लीकेशन ऑफ इनकम, और उसमें जो 31(1)B के अंदर पर्पस आएगा 31(1)(b) में उसमें वन कॉलम इज फॉर द पर्पस एंड सेकंड 31(1)(a) के अंदर डोनेशन, तो डोनेशन में नॉन इलेक्ट्रॉनिक मोड में दिस विल बी कवर्ड। और यहाँ पर 40A सबसेक्शन 3 लागू नहीं होगा बिकॉज दिस इज नॉट एन एक्सपेंडिचर, दिस इज डोनेशन। तो डोनेशन के ऊपर यू कैन गिव इन काइंड।
और सर इसमें एप्लीकेशन भी हो जाएगा सर, डोनेशन तो हमें कवर करना ही पड़ेगा।
एप्लीकेशन ऑफ इनकम इट इज आल्सो।
हाँ, बिकॉज ये साथ साथ डोनेशन एक कैपिटल एसेट भी हमारे पास आ गया है, तो एप्लीकेशन भी साथ साथ हमें कवर करना पड़ेगा इसको साथ।
जिसके हैंड्स में रिसीव हो रहा है वैसे तो देयर आर सम जजमेंट कि अगर डोनेशन इन काइंड आपको रिसीव हुआ है तो सेक्शन 11 एंड 12 के अंदर डोनेशन रिसीव्ड इन काइंड इज नॉट ट्रीटेड एज एन इनकम। And even though if it is received and if it is for the purpose of the trust and for the it can be utilized for the object of the trust, then it is automatically application of income.
Yeah. And there is a circular also of CBDT.
किसके दिया है? हाँ, बाबूलाल अग्रवाल। उसके 2 पार्टनर।
आप सर अपना कंटिन्यू कर सकते हैं सर, यू कैन कंप्लीट योर वर्ड्स एंड आफ्टर दैट वी कैन आस्क द पार्टिसिपेंट टू आस्क द क्वेश्चन। हेलो सर, आप कंटिन्यू कर सकते हैं सर, आप कुछ बोल रहे थे रिगार्डिंग वन।
राजेश जी कौन बोल रहे थे?
MIT
सर बोल रहे थे कुछ।
हाँ,
सर्कुलर के बारे में कुछ बोल रहे थे वो।
इसके बारे में
सर्कुलर के बारे में आप सर बोल रहे थे।
सुशील जी आप बोल रहे हैं सर।
हाँ, डोनेशन इन काइंड के बारे में CBDT का सर्कुलर भी है एक, कि हाउ इट हैज टू बी ट्रीटेड। अकॉर्डिंग टू दैट आई हैव टोल्ड दैट दिस कैन बी क्रिएटेड टू कॉर्पस एंड इधर इन्वेस्टमेंट दिखा सकते हैं लैंड एंड बिल्डिंग।
डोनेशन इन काइंड के बारे में 1023C में देयर इज आल्सो वन प्रोविजन अंडर द एक्ट कि अगर 1023C में नोटिफाइड इंस्टीट्यूशन को ज्वेलरी और फर्नीचर के अलावा अगर कोई अन्य डोनेशन मिलता है तो उनको अगले प्रीवियस ईयर के अंदर विद इन नेक्स्ट प्रीवियस ईयर दे हैव टू
कन्वर्ट करना होगा
ऑब्जेक्ट्स ऑफ द ट्रस्ट।
करेक्ट, बट इन दिस केस ही इज ऑलरेडी हैविंग दिस बिल्डिंग,
यस,
so he need not convert
it is
into
already
the
covered under 11(5) mode.
Yeah.
Building
That's
is
why I said
immovable
that.
property 11(5) mode में already covered है।
already covered।
सर ये CBDT सर्कुलर है 580 dated 14th September 1990 which clarifies that such contribution or donation in kind which are usable for charitable purpose in the same form in which these are received shall be deemed to have been utilized based on the evidence of such। तो ये बिल्कुल करेक्ट, मतलब जो सर ने कहा that is circular is there, so we can take benefit of that circular।
Yeah.
Sanjay sir wants to add something, sir.
Can I say something?
Yeah, sure.
There is no doubt that the building that is received should be shown as voluntary contribution received and application, but it can never be shown as a corpus donation, because there is a specific prohibition now that a charitable trust cannot make a corpus donation to other. So what Mr. Sushil told, I'm just making a modification to that. Of course, it is a donation, but not as corpus donation.
Correct.
Thank you.
Agreed, sir. Very correctly added, sir. Very correctly, sir.
But the query has not said that the donation is coming from another charitable trust.
Sir, I think
just giving the donation. What I want to say that as Mr. Jindal and Mr. Mehta has told, that it is of course a donation in kind and simultaneously it is also an application. That is the only thing. And in the hands of the donor, it will be a donation. And if it is in the current year, and 85% he will be there.
If the donor gives a letter that this building I am giving to a corpus of the trust, then
they can't. If the donor happens to be a charitable trust, it is prohibited.
No, I am not saying charitable trust. I mean other than charitable trust. Then
no charitable trust can make any corpus donation to another charitable trust. That is prohibited for last 2 years.
But querist has not said that donation is coming from any other charitable trust. He is simply saying that donation is coming as a building.
No, if it is an ordinary donor, not being a registered charitable trust, then
Yeah.
it can be. There is no doubt.
Yeah, that's why I have said
Yes.
that this is corpus and that application.
We can more complicate this, sir. For all of the learned now, we can slightly complicate this because this is the issue we also see in real life situation. A ordinary donor, an individual or a firm or a company, if gives a immobile property, let's say school building for purposes, as he said, there are two alternatives. One, he gives the school building and he gives also a letter saying that this building is a corpus donation.
Yeah.
Now, what will be the way it has to be treated in the books of account and the income tax? And second alternative, which we discussed, he gives a school building as a donation, as a general donation. He says, I'm giving you this school building without specifying that it is a corpus donation. And then how it will be treated. So there can be two alternatives. So maybe that we can examine that. Sanjay sir, if you can examine this and then give us the answer on this.
See, whether it is a corpus or not, it 100% depends upon the desire expressed by the concerned donor.
Yeah.
That is the first thing. There cannot be any other idea about it. If the donor itself happens to be a non-charitable trust, then it can give a corpus donation, no doubt about it. In the hands of the donee, if there is a direction that it is a corpus, then it must be followed. That means it will go to corpus fund and simultaneously to the fixed assets. But if it is not there is no direction, then it has to come as a voluntary contribution with simultaneous showing a disclosure as fixed assets. This is my view.
Correct. Only to add, I just in one view that once it is a corpus donation, that building is a corpus donation, and then it will be shown under the fixed asset. But then because there will be no income, because it is a corpus fund, then there will be no application. Then we will not be claiming it as an application and taking the benefit of the circular. But whereas it is a general donation, where we will show it as income, and then we will show it as application in the books of account and in the audit report also. Just I wanted to add that. If I am correct on that account, sir?
Yes, I also told that thing.
Yeah.
If it is corpus, then corpus to be credited, fixed asset to be debited.
Right.
If it is not a corpus, voluntary contribution is to be credited and fixed assets to be debited.
Correct.
This is my view. Again, I am telling.
Very correct.
Right.
Very this is a complicated. We see every year some or few
Yes,
of the
sir. There is two judgment of ITAT Jodhpur bench also, which says that if anyone has received any donation in kind, that donation is not to be applied. 85% is not required to be applied, because the provisions of 85% or this voluntary contribution applies only to the amount of received in money or equivalent to money. So the donation in kind is not applicable. Only in 1023C they have mentioned. 1023C they have mentioned that any donation received in any form other than jewelry and furniture is required to be converted into the asset towards the object of the trust. For the purpose of 1112, they have nowhere mentioned that it is required to be converted and it is required to be invested in 11.5. So this is also to be noted.
Only I feel, just to add, I feel that all professionals have become now khatro ke khiladi, expert. They will have to deal with so many situations and what is correct and what is not correct. It is really becoming so complicated now. Thank you, sir.
Rajesh sir, if outside a mandir, a temple, if there are two boxes, one is a normal donation box and one is a building fund donation box. Yes. So can the amount which has been inserted into the building donation fund box, although all those funds are coming anonymously because nobody is writing their PAN number or name ki I am putting this much of money in that building fund donation box. So can that building fund donation box can be treated as a long-term funds like corporate donation box or a normal donation box?
If the said trust is not a trust exclusively for charitable purposes, then it can do so, because they have mentioned on the donation box itself that any of the donation received in this box will be gone to the corpus of the building fund. So they can do. Because 115 BBC is applicable, 115 BBC says that any donation received by any of the charitable institution, there should be name and address of the donor. So only if it is exclusively for charitable purposes. And if any of the institution is for the purpose of religious and charitable both, then in that case, if any of the anonymous donation is received towards medical and education, then that will be covered under 115 BBC. Otherwise, anonymous donation can be also towards corpus of the trust.
Thank you.
Because in law, they have nowhere mentioned that name and address of the donor should be maintained. So if we have not issued any receipt, Rule 17AA says that name and address should be maintained of every donor and PAN and Aadhaar if available. So if we have not received donation through the receipt, then we are not required to maintain the name and address.
Yeah, very correctly. In that section 115 BBC is exclude the trust or institution created exclusively for wholly religious purposes. So any wholly religious purposes, any trust receives anonymous donation, they are still exempt from tax.
Sir, one more question, Akhil sir. If the work is going on, project work is going on, we paid advances to our contractors, but the work is not complete. The drains, the pavements, the footpath is yet to be completed in the project work in the periphery, but a substantial amount of advances has been given to the contractors. So whether the amount of advances given in the current year, means financial year 22-23, will be treated as an application or will simply shown as in the balance sheet as an advance?
What I understand that there is a entity which are making some construction and they have given substantial advances to people.
Right,
and
sir. Right.
those advances, whether that construction has been made or not made, in my view, you see, if they have received, they have given advances and they have also actually spent those money, advances have been given to certain people, where those have actually converted into some activity they have done, and they should preferably transfer it to capital work in progress, not to building. They may not capitalize into building, but if it is transferred to capital work in progress to the extent the amount has been spent, then those amount can be claimed as application, in my view, because there have been certain cases which we have done this under scrutiny also, and when we claimed in the capital work in progress, that is allowed as application. But if only advance is given, but no amount has been spent by the contractor, then I feel that it may not be allowed as application.
Sir, since it is a Section 8 company, so based on the civil engineer certificate, the work is being going on. So we have debited under the head capital work in progress.
Yes.
Based on the civil engineer certificate also, and actual work is being going on actually. It is not that the only advance is given and no work has been taken up by the contractor. It is not the situation. It is other way around.
Yes, so that can be treated as application of income. There are two judgments of ITAT Delhi. Inverse Cancer Society and Research Center, and there is a Net Trip Education Society Delhi ITAT. This says that any advance given will be treated as an application of income. But Akhilji rightly said that work should have been done.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Only a loans and advance. It should be not only be a loans and advance. It should be advance against work executed.
Correct.
Or either it should be contractual that it is so much amount is compulsorily to be given as an advance, then only the work will be started. So it is contractual. Then you can treat it as an application of income.
Thank you, Rajesh.
I thank you, Rajesh ji. You are such a ready with the all the judgments. It is really very heartening to see that. Thank you very much.
Sir, we have some more people raising their hands. Sir, can we take up the questions or will you continue, sir? And Narayan sir, काफी देर से हाथ उठा के रखे हैं, sir, since half an hour.
Yes. I think because all the panel is there, it is better to have questions, and we are also learning, because as students we are learning with so many queries actually. And
sir, everyone is enjoying also. And Narayan ji, you can unmute and ask the question.
He is not able to unmute.
Yes, okay. Then Roshan Lal ji is also there. Roshan Lal ji, you can unmute and ask. Okay, sir, he is also not there. Arpit ji, if you want to ask.
हेलो राजेश सर, हेलो
Yes, आप बोलिए, हम सब सुन रहे हैं.
Yes,
सर ये
अर्पित जी बोलिए. हाँ.
सर ये 12A1B में जो ये लिखा है कि ऑडिट होगी 11-12 के अगर एग्जाम्पशन नहीं लेते हैं और मैक्सिमम अमाउंट नॉट चार्जेबल टू टैक्स, तो करंट ईयर से 2,50,000 का ट्रस्ट को बेनिफिट नहीं दिया जा रहा है, मतलब 0 से टैक्स लग रहा है.
हाँ, yes,
तो
yes.
इन दैट केस सर ये ई फाइलिंग जो 10B और 10BB का करना है वो स्टिल नहीं करेंगे चलेगा, और उनको जो 11(1)A में 15% है या 9A का फॉर्म भरना है वो अलाउड होगा उनको, या कंपलसरी 10BB फाइल करना पड़ेगा जो जिनकी इनकम ग्रॉस रिसिप्ट बिलो 2,50,000 या उससे कम है?
जिनकी ग्रॉस रिसिप्ट अगर बिलो 2.5 लेके आई वुड एडवाइज टू गो देम टू द ITR 5. तो अदरवाइज वैसे ये जो 115 BBI 2.5 लाख तक का जो बेसिक एग्जेम्पशन इज नॉट बीइंग अलाउड बाय दिस ITR 7 एंड सो दिस इज सम रॉन्ग इंटरप्रिटेशन बाय आई थिंक द ITR 7 जिन्होंने भी ड्राफ्ट किया है. ITR 7 में उसको वो 115 BBI में टैक्स लगा रहे हैं. मान लिया किसी ट्रस्ट की ग्रॉस रिसिप्ट 10 लाख रुपीज है और उन्होंने 9 लाख रुपीज स्पेंड कर दिए हैं, एप्लीकेशन ऑफ इनकम हो गया, 1 लाख रुपीज इज द टैक्सेबल. So as per section 164 subsection 2, any income of any of the entities claiming exemption under section 11 and 12 will be treated as an income of the AOP. और AOP के अंदर अगर उससे किसी मेंबर को बेनिफिट ट्रांसफर नहीं किया जा रहा है, ट्रस्टी को बेनिफिट ट्रांसफर नहीं किया जा रहा है, then its income will be treated like a slab rate applicable to the individual itself. So up to 2.5 lakh it should be certainly exempted, but 115 BBI का इंटरप्रिटेशन उन्होंने थोड़ा गलत लगाया. 115 BBI में ये बोला है any accumulation over and above 15% which is not specified, which is not allowed to be accumulated under any of the conditions of the section 11. तो अगर अन्य किसी एक कंडीशन में उसको accumulation allowed नहीं है तो 115 BBI लगेगा. So law does not prevent कि आप 15% से ज्यादा को accumulation नहीं कर सकते हैं. When assessee is going to pay the tax at normal slab rate, he should be allowed. But ITR 7 में अभी जो भी यूटिलिटी है वो आपके 2.5 लाख से कम के प्रॉफिट को भी they are charging the tax and they have interpreted it wrong under 115 BBI. So if your gross receipt itself is less than 2.5 lakh, you should certainly go to ITR 5.
सर तो उस केस में जैसे नेक्स्ट ईयर फिर अगर ज्यादा रिसिप्ट होगी और इस साल 11-12 का बेनिफिट नहीं लिया तो क्वेरी आ सकती है फिर नेक्स्ट ईयर में?
यस यस, अगर उसमें आपका 11-12 का बेनिफिट आपको 2.5 लाख से ज्यादा पे तो 2.5 लाख पर भी कंप्यूटर तो 115 BBI का आपको टैक्स लगा देगा.
नहीं सर, मैं ये पूछ रहा हूँ कि इस साल मेरी रिसिप्ट 2,50,000 से कम है, इसके लिए आपने सजेस्ट कर रहे हैं कि ITR 5 फाइल करिए, बराबर है? और अगर नेक्स्ट ईयर मेरी रिसिप्ट ज्यादा होगी तो
यू कैन गो. आपको ऑडिट की रिक्वायरमेंट ओनली सेक्शन 12A1B इज एप्लीकेबल ओनली व्हेन योर ग्रॉस रिसिप्ट इज मोर देन ₹2.5 lakh.
Correct.
If gross receipt is not, you have not done any violation of 12A1B.
तो सर ये मतलब नेक्स्ट ईयर में फिर दिक्कत नहीं आएगी?
No problem. It will not be problem. You are not required to opt for this. Even if you are having the registration, it is not required that you should compulsorily get your books out.
Even he is not required to file ITR 5 also if his gross is less than 2.5.
Yes, yes.
ओनली सर ये थोड़ा सा कॉम्प्लिकेटेड है मेरे व्यू में. जो इशू है इसमें वी आर मतलब वन हैज टू लुक एट आंसर्स फ्रॉम वेरियस पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू. Because if you are having that registration under 12AB and exemption under section 11 and 12, you are supposed to file your return under ITR 7. So एक साल के अंदर मैं ये कहूंगा कि जी मुझे एप्लीकेबल तो है सेक्शन 11 और मैं रजिस्टर्ड भी हूँ और मैं उसके अंदर ITR 7 की जगह ITR 5 फाइल करता हूँ, तो वो मुझे परमिसिबल होगा नहीं होगा? क्या मेरा मतलब आई एम ऑप्टिंग आउट फॉर अ ईयर, आई एम सेइंग दैट आई एम नॉट taking that benefit of section 11 और I am not registered at 12AB, क्योंकि मैं रजिस्टर्ड तो रहूंगा जैसे वो बता रहे हैं नेक्स्ट ईयर में उनकी रिसीट ज्यादा हो सकती है. तो ये थोड़ा सा कॉम्प्लिकेशन आएगा कि एक साल के अंदर मैं ITR 5 फाइल करूं फिर अगले साल में ITR 7 फाइल करूं और वो एकोमोलेशन जो इनकम, ये बात बिल्कुल ठीक है कि जो मिनिमम स्लैब रेट है 2.5 लाख का, जो 2.5 लाख का जो मिनिमम स्लैब रेट है, वो काफी पुराने भी जजमेंट्स है कोर्ट्स के, जो 15% एकोमोलेशन था और मिनिमम स्लैब रेट था, कोर्ट के जजमेंट ये आए थे कि आपको दोनों डिडक्शन बिना किसी उसके मिलेंगे आपको, मतलब एवरी पर्सन इज एंटाइटल्ड फॉर दैट। बट अब ये कॉम्प्लिकेशन जो इन्होंने अभी रिसेंटली जो अमेंडमेंट्स करी हैं, इसमें ये मुझे लग रहा है कि थोड़ा सा कॉम्प्लेक्स क्वेश्चन है, मतलब आई एम इवन सर्चिंग फॉर दैट आंसर। शायद संजय सर या सुशील सर थोड़ा सा और इसको एनलाइटन कर पाएंगे कि 1 साल के अंदर हमारी रिसीट्स कम है 2.5 लाख से, तो हम ITR 7 की जगह ITR 5 जैसे राजीव जी कह रहे हैं सर, मतलब ये ठीक रहेगा कि मेरा कोई इम्पेयर तो नहीं हो जाएगा मेरा अगले साल जो मेरी एग्जाम्पशन है, मतलब आई एम ये तो मुझे भी थोड़ा सी इशू, बड़ा अच्छा क्वेश्चन पूछा है इन्होंने, एक्सीलेंट क्वेश्चन है इनका, और अगले साल फिर मैं दोबारा से उसको ले पाऊंगा, क्योंकि जहां पर भी जो इवन जो रजिस्ट्रेशन सर्टिफिकेट हमें 12A और 80 के मिलते हैं, उसके अंदर ये लिखा रखता है कि सारी हमें कंडीशन फुलफिल करनी है, बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट करना है, एंड प्रोवाइडेड हमारी रिसीट 2.5 लाख से ज्यादा है तो हमें एज पर लॉ ऑडिट भी कराना है। पर अगर 2.5 लाख से कम है तो हमें ऑडिट कराने की जरूरत नहीं है, ये उसके अंदर स्पेसिफिक क्लॉजेस हैं उसके अंदर जो रजिस्ट्रेशन सर्टिफिकेट हमें देते हैं उसमें कंडीशन में। तो मे बी सर वी कैन एज अ पैनल वी कैन डिस्कस दैट एंड मे बी वी कैन कम टू अ कंक्लूजन सर।
सर एक क्वेश्चन
सुशील
और
सर
है।
क्या?
सर जैसे ट्रस्ट एक्ट लगता है गुजरात में, चैरिटेबल ट्रस्ट एक्ट, उसमें जब रजिस्ट्रेशन लिया है वहां पे एड्रेस जो ट्रस्ट का था वो ट्रस्टी के घर का है, और अभी जो है उनकी ऑफिस है। अब नॉर्मली रिटर्न जो फाइल कर रहे हैं वो ऑफिस के एड्रेस से फाइल कर रहे हैं। अब जब ऑनलाइन पोर्टल पे ऑडिट रिपोर्ट फाइल करते हैं तो वो रिटर्न में जो वो एड्रेस कैचअप कर रहा है वो जो करंट एड्रेस ऑफिस का है उससे कैचअप कर रहा है, जबकि IT इनकम टैक्स में इंटीमेशन दे दिया गया है कि रजिस्टर एड्रेस ये है चैरिटी के हिसाब से, और ट्रस्ट का करंट बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स यहाँ पे रखे जा रहे हैं। तो सर इस केस में क्या करना पड़ेगा कि SSC के पोर्टल पे जाके पहले एड्रेस चेंज करो, फिर वापस एड्रेस चेंज करो, वैसे जाके मतलब करना पड़ेगा? नहीं तो उसमें वैसे ही आ रहा है कि दोनों के एड्रेस, रजिस्टर एड्रेस और करंट एड्रेस सेम ही आ रहा है, वहां से जो भी लिंक आ रही है उस हिसाब से।
वो तो करेक्ट जाके चेंज करना ही पड़ेगा, ये तो हर SSC की केस में, मतलब नॉट इवन फॉर ट्रस्ट, कंपनी हो या कोई भी हो, ये तो आपको जाके वहां चेंज करना ही चाहिए एड्रेस, जो भी आपका प्रेजेंट एड्रेस है, रजिस्टर्ड एड्रेस है, क्योंकि ट्रस्ट के अंदर तो स्पेसिफिक रूल 17AA के अंदर बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट का भी मेंशन कर दिया कि आपने एड्रेस जो रजिस्टर्ड एड्रेस है वहीं पे सारी बुक्स आपकी मेंटेन होनी चाहिए। तो ये बड़ा इंपॉर्टेंट है, ये तो उनको जाके पोर्टल पे चेंज करना ही पड़ेगा, पैन नंबर में, पैन में, एड्रेस में भी चेंज करना पड़ेगा और पोर्टल पे जाके एड्रेस चेंज करना पड़ेगा। एंड आई थिंक डजंट टेक टाइम, वो चेंज हो जाता है, जैसे पोर्टल पे जाके और OTP करके आप एड्रेस कर सकते हैं, तो वो तो डेफिनेटली यू शुड डू दैट।
सर मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है कि ट्रस्ट के रजिस्ट्रेशन में जो एड्रेस है सर्टिफिकेट में वो पुराना है, IT पोर्टल पे जो रिटर्न फाइल हो रहा है वो करंट एड्रेस से फाइल हो रहा है, और वो जो SSC का एड्रेस है उसका हमने इनकम टैक्स में नोटिफिकेशन दे दिया, इंटीमेशन कि एड्रेस हम ये यहाँ पे रखते हैं बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स विद इन जो भी 7 डेज का टाइम लिमिट है। जब ऑडिट रिपोर्ट एज ए CA फाइल कर रहे हैं तो उसमें ऑनलाइन 10BB में एज अ ऑडिटी का एड्रेस जो आ रहा है वो IT पोर्टल से आ रहा है, तो वो एड्रेस और ये एड्रेस दोनों सेम हो रहे हैं। तो क्या मुझे SSC के पोर्टल पे पहले एड्रेस चेंज करना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि मैं रिटर्न फाइल कर रहा हूँ करंट एड्रेस से? तो मेरे को SSC के पोर्टल पे एक बार एड्रेस चेंज करके 10BB फाइल करना पड़े, फिर वापस जो करंट एड्रेस से मैं इतने साल से जो रिटर्न फाइल करके आ रहा हूँ, तो उसके लिए कोई मतलब है? क्योंकि वो ऑनलाइन में ये हो रहा है 10BB में वो ऑडिटी का एड्रेस सीधा IT के पोर्टल पे से जो भी है वही वहां से ले रहा है।
नहीं, एक तो रजिस्टर्ड एड्रेस हो गया आपका और एक अदर एड्रेसेस हो गए जहाँ पे बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट मेंटेन कर रहे हैं आप, या जहाँ पे आप एक्टिविटी चला रहे हैं। तो रजिस्टर्ड एड्रेस तो वही आएगा जो आपका जहाँ पे आपने रजिस्टर्ड करा है या पोर्टल में है या जहाँ आप चाहते हैं, और अदर एड्रेसेस में आपने इंटीमेट करा होगा इनकम टैक्स ऑफिस को कि यहाँ मैं बाकी चीजें मेंटेन कर रहा हूँ, तो अदर एड्रेसेस में आप मेंशन कर सकते हैं जो एड्रेसेस हैं।
सर वो पोर्टल पे जो एड्रेस है वो अदर एड्रेस है IT पोर्टल पे, जहाँ
और
से
रजिस्टर्ड
रिटर्न
एड्रेस है, नहीं पहली बात तो जो रजिस्टर्ड एड्रेस है वो तो आपको करेक्ट करना ही पड़ेगा ना, रजिस्टर्ड एड्रेस जो भी है आपका।
ठीक है सर। और सर ये 13(3) में जो सेक्शन जो है उसमें ट्रस्टी के ट्रांजैक्शन नहीं है तो भी उसका डिटेल्स देनी है ना उसमें 13 में, क्योंकि हम ये वेरीफाई कर रहे हैं कि बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट 17AA के हिसाब से मेंटेन हो रहा है, तो ट्रस्टी के साथ ट्रांजैक्शन नहीं भी किए हैं तो भी 13(3) में उसका वहाँ पे
Yes.
डिटेल्स देनी है।
तो भी देना है, यस।
ओके सर, थैंक यू।
100%, जो बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट वो मेंटेन करेंगे उसमें उनको रिकॉर्ड रखना है। दे आर सपोज टू कीप दैट एंड वी आर सीइंग प्रॉपर बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट। और अगर वो नहीं रख रहे हैं तो आप मतलब वो नॉन कंप्लाई कर रहे हैं, फिर आपको क्वालिफिकेशन देना पड़ेगा। टू दैट एक्सटेंट उन्होंने मेंटेन नहीं करा है। करेक्ट जो व्यू है, जो मतलब करेक्ट व्यू है, वो तो वही करना ही पड़ेगा आपको।
ओके सर, थैंक यू।
Sushil sir, we have a question in the chat box. Institution is approved under 12A in ITR 7. If we select 139(4)A and 11, not able to save page, it shows error. There is mismatch of registration section under which registered and section under which exemptions claimed. इसका सर solution आपके पास?
In fact, I am not very conversant with the ITR forms and forms because I am dealing only with the litigation work.
Yes, sir.
So if
Rajesh sir, if you have
Rajesh sir or
anything to say.
I don't know.
Sanjay
आई
sir.
थिंक इसको जब मैं सेशन लूंगा तो स्क्रीन शेयर करके वी विल शो ITR 7 का
Okay,
जो
sir.
यूटिलिटी है, यूटिलिटी वी विल शेयर ऑन
Sir,
दिस।
हिम्मत सिंह का सर का एक क्वेश्चन है सर, there is a 12A registered trust which has a business undertaking more than 100 years old. It is separately audited under Form 3CA. In the computation, we consider only net profit of business unit. Is this correct?
Yes, you are required to consider only the net profit here for the
ठीक है।
purpose of this 11 and 12.
Roshan Lal ji has raised his hand, sir. You can unmute and ask now.
And if that income is taxable, 11(4) section 11 subsection 4 will also have to be considered, that the assessee has not inflated his net profit.
Okay. Roshan Lal ji, please sir.
सर ये जो रिलेटिव की डेफिनेशन है वो क्या एज पर आईटी एक्ट है?
As per IT Act, yes.
और इसके अंदर क्या अलाइव और मेंबर्स हैं क्या? अभी डेड मेंबर्स भी आएंगे?
No, for which purpose, sir? For trustee, for which?
इसमें जो डिटेल फिलअप करने के लिए सर जो डिटेल मांग रहे हैं रिलेटिव्स की फॉर्म के अंदर में,
उसमें ड्यूरिंग द ईयर के हैं। पहले एज ऑन 31 मार्च होता था कि जो एज ऑन 31 मार्च है लिस्ट, अब ड्यूरिंग द ईयर भी जो भी लोग हैं वो उन्होंने इसको अमेंड करा है। अगर आप देखेंगे ना रूल 17AA और इसके अंदर एक सेकेंड, अगर रूल 17AA है और हमारा 41 भी है, वो ड्यूरिंग द ईयर के भी जो हैं वो सबका मेंशन आएगा उसमें।
अच्छा, ओनली फॉर ड्यूरिंग द ईयर के मेंशन करने हैं?
हाँ, ड्यूरिंग द ईयर। पहले था केवल एज ऑन 31 मार्च, अब ड्यूरिंग द ईयर के भी मेंशन करने हैं। वो उनको जो बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट में वो मेंटेन करेंगे स्पेसिफाइड पर्संस, उसके अंदर वो उनको पूरा मेंटेन करना है।
थैंक यू सर।
Shaukat Ali ji का question है sir. No FC fund received, but interest on FC rupees 1,20,000 received. Other VC contributions received rupees 1,90,000. Total VC is rupees 3,10,000. Which form is applicable? Form 10B or 10BB?
10B will be applicable because if the institution is registered under FCRA, 10B will have to be furnished.
Sir, hello.
हाँ, बोलिए ना संजय।
In 10BB, there is also a column for foreign contribution.
But that column is
10BB,
not of any use.
There is also a column for foreign contribution, column
but
number 16.
yes. But 10B says that if any of the person has received any foreign contribution, then they are required to furnish the form number 10B and not the 10BB. So that column is of they want the information.
Then sir, why they have kept that provision in 10BB?
So either there may be some mistake or they want to track. Is maybe possible anyone has wrongly filed the form number 10BB. So if that person has not filled up that column, then the person who is doing the audit and that the assessee institution both will be liable for furnishing of inaccurate, maybe covered under section 277.
That is the very much confused area. As
Yes.
because in advisory it is written that those who have received the foreign contribution should use the form 10B.
Yes.
But foreign contribution also means the interest received on foreign contribution.
Yes,
The organization has already only received the interest on foreign contribution.
no. If interest is also treated as a foreign contribution, so
That is
10
that,
will
that I understand that is coming under the definition. But putting the same clause
no, until and
contribution
unless
in
sir,
BB.
they have told that the definition of foreign contribution will be as defined under 21H of the FCR
Yeah, that's
Act.
true. Yeah,
So 10B is
But then again-
exclusively 10BB is not required.
not required.
10BB should not be opted.
Use. But then, sir, why they have put that clause there?
So they want to track if anyone is using wrong form. It is my interpretation only.
Thank you so much, sir, for answering the question. I think, sir, Akhil, sir has left. He had some commitment. So we thank him. Sir, we have another question from Vinod Perivalji. PF trust, under which section return of income to file in order to claim TDS refunds? So PF ka trust hai, PF trust hai.
So for PF trust, I think this ITR 7 will not be applicable. For that, they will have to go opt for the ITR 5.
Okay, sir.
Sir, one more clarification is required regarding Form 10B clause number 31.
Sir,
Electronic and
double
other-
voice is coming.
other-
Double voice is coming. Please, either I think you are logged in through your device. So please keep one off.
I think, sir, आप mute पे चले गए. Please unmute yourself and ask the question.
Sir, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Can I ask a question, sir? Sir, trustees are finding it in discomfort to share the details of their relatives as covered in the 13.3 section.
So the fact is that the law requires. Sir, the fact is that the law requires to give the information of the relative also. And this is not the new provision. This provision is running since long, and ITR 7 was also having this provision since long. Only this year, since the ITR audit report 10B and 10BB has been modified and newly introduced. So this is now our attest function. So we are getting it difficult to obtain from them. Otherwise, earlier, I think some of the trusts were furnishing this information, some were not furnishing. But as per 10B, we are compulsorily required to report this information, and Rule 17AA specifies that such information will have to be maintained by the assessee trust also as a books of account and other documents. So if they have not maintained, they are not providing you, you may mention it as an your qualification in your first page, the audit report.
Sir, is there any danger of 12A being not allowed for that year? If
Yes,
we
yes.
mention such a
Such
danger is there.
Because there is a violation. If the trust is not giving you the information of relative, they are not maintaining information of the relative, then it will be violation of section 12A(1)(b). And if there is violation of section 12A(1)(b), section 13 subsection 10 will be attracted. So this will not be allowed any benefit of section 11 and 12. So tax computed will be in accordance with the section 13 subsection 10. So they may attract. As and when you qualify your audit report, the department may take up the case in scrutiny, and 13 his assessment will be completed in accordance with section 13 subsection 10.
Sir, regarding Form 10B, clause number 31.
Yes.
So there is a split up of electronic and other than electronic.
Yes, yes.
Should be the way to split up that one. It's very how to split up that.
Yes, please, 1 minute, sir. So your query, please repeat your query, sir.
In clause 31 in Form 10B,
Yes, yes.
there is a breakup required under electronic and non-electronic, other than electronic.
Yes.
So my question is how to segregate that one.
So all
With
the
as because they are maintaining the accounts in Tally,
yes.
and all cash and bank expenditure is already reflected in the ledger account. So right now, how to segregate that?
Sir, in the tally, you can, I think, very easily find out all the payments which are treated as an application of income and made through the check or made through the online systems. And other than online system, maybe you have made payments less than rupees 10,000. Maybe you have made payment more than rupees 10,000 in cash or less than 10,000 in cash, or by way of any journal entries, by way of any adjustment entries. So all those such payments you can, or any accrual, any payment is made, provision has been made for any payment. So those all will go to the non-electronic. So tally will certainly give you the report, but it is compulsory in 10B.
Sir,
Payment through check is to be treated as electronic payment. Payment through check is if the check is through account pay check or account pay bank draft, then or RTGS, it is to be treated as an electronic payment.
sir, if there is inter-charity donations, one trust giving donation to other trust, that 15% disallowance is applicable for assessment year 24-25 only, no, sir?
Yes,
Not
only
for
24-25. That 15%, only 85% will be treated as application of income. This is applicable from the assessment year 2024-25.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Sir, we have another question. Whether corpus donation required to include income of the trust, or it will be treated as capital receipts? Sir,
I think they want to know that whether corpus donation is treated as income or not.
Yes.
Corpus donation is treated as income because for the purpose of section 12A 1B, they says that any of the income without giving effect to the provisions of section 11 and 12. So if corpus donation complies with the condition of the section 11 1D and other condition, then only it will be excluded from the income. Otherwise, it is the income. However, there is some judgment of Agra ITAT. They says that any corpus donation will not be treated as an income even if the trust is not registered under section 12A or 12A AA or 12AB. But in my opinion, even if any trust is not registered under section 12A, 12AA or 12AB, any donation received towards corpus will be treated as an income because it is not registered under 12A or 12AB. Then it cannot be excluded from the total income because section 11(1)(d) says that following will be excluded. If and section 12A says that benefit of section 11 and 12 will be allowed only when it is registered as per section 12A.
क्या ये WhatsApp आया था इंडेक्स का?
Sir, can we take up more questions? और सर आपका कोई PPT या कोई स्क्रीन शेयरिंग से आप कुछ हमें चाहते बताना, because क्वेश्चन का तो लिस्ट अंत नहीं है सर.
Something we may take कुछ चीजें I think I would like to discuss. मैं एक स्क्रीन शेयर कर देता हूँ जो ITR 7 का फॉर्म है, कुछ चीजें उससे we would like to.
Yes. सुशील सर आप भी हैं ना सर हमारे साथ?
हाँ अभी तो है.
हाँ सर.
सुशील सर, संजय जी साथ हैं. इट विल बी गुड क्योंकि अगेन थोड़ी देर बाद 10-15 मिनट में स्क्रीन शेयर करता हूँ. अगेन इफ देयर विल बी गुड क्वेरीज तो हम तीनों का भी इंटरेक्शन होगा. माय नॉलेज विल आल्सो बी एनरिच्ड बाय दिस.
Yes, yes, yes. Knowledge is a thing which is being updated every day.
Yes, yes, sir. So, sir, this is I think my screen is visible, sir.
Yes, sir, it is visible, sir.
Yes. So this is our ITR 7 form, and many of the new things have come into this ITR form. So this is our first screen. And in this, I have filled up some dummy data. What first thing here we have to mention the status of the assessee. So there are only 4 options available here: local authority, AOP BOI, artificial juridical person, and the company. So if we are in most of the cases AOP BI will be applicable. Then if we have furnished this AOP BI, they here says that kindly look into the box at the in case sub-status is selected as any other AOP BOI, then tax is chargeable at the maximum marginal rate as per section 167 capital B. So here they are providing us only these 3 options. First option is the society registered under Society Registration Act or any other law corresponding to that act. So many of the states are having their own state society act, or for the India, there is a Society Registration Act 1860. So for the purpose of society, this will be the 01 code. And for public charitable trust or religious trust or religious and charitable trust, we will have to select 05 code. If we select, because in the 05 code, they have not mentioned the religious trust and they have not mentioned the religious and charitable trust. So if we wrongly select 07, then our client will have to pay tax at MMR as per 167 capital B. So even if your trust is exclusively for religious purposes, you will have to wrongly select 05. So this is the mistake of the utility. They would have to provide the two more options to us. Fourth option should have been for the religious trust, and fifth option should have been for the public religious and charitable trust. So you, even in case of religious trust, you will have to please select this code. Then details of the project and institution run by the institution. So whatever projects are being run, name of this to be mentioned here, and here they are giving us the option research, news agency, professional bodies, other these options are there. And here you will also find that they have mentioned charitable and religious. So here also they have not given us option of religious trust. So they are not allowing us to show if any of the trust is religious trust, then here no option is available. And if it is a charitable purpose, then they have given us some options available here: education, medical relief, yoga, general public utility, other. So these options are there. Okay. Then date of registration or approval under the Income Tax Act. If the trust is registered under the Income Tax Act, then you are required to furnish this information here under these columns. And details of registration or provisional registration or approval under any other law other than the Income Tax Act. So if trust is registered under any other law other than Income Tax Act, that information is required to be filled up here. Say for example, if you are furnishing ITR 7 for any of the educational or medical institution, which is not having gross receipt more than ₹5 crore and which is not covered under furnishing form 10B or 10BB, then you will have to furnish information under this column A20. So if the education institution is registered under any Society Registration Act or any other institution, you will have to mention here. Then you can only claim the exemption under 1023C Roman 3AD or 3AE. Then where this return is filed by representative assessee, so this is generally not applicable. And you have unlisted equity share, this column is generally also not applicable. 18, 827. Now we come to the audit. So under this A27 column, are you liable for audit under Income Tax Act? If we are doing the audit under Income Tax Act in form number 10B or 10BB, we are required to furnish this information here. Under this section, we are having these various options available: 1023C 4566A or 12A1B. So we have selected here 12A1B. And whether the accounts have been audited by an accountant, yes. Date of audit, whatever is the date of audit, membership number, these information are required. Date of audit report and date of furnishing of the audit report. These both are separately required, because if audit is completed, it is not furnished, then this column will be blank, and then you may be liable for section 13 subsection 10 because you have violated section 12A1BA. So these both columns are required to be compulsorily filled, date of furnishing of the audit report. Another column is the A28. A28 is if liable to audit under any other act other than the Income Tax Act. Mention the act, section, and date of furnishing of the audit report. So here also there is, I think, some mistake in the ITR 7 format and you drafting of the utility. They have mentioned the date of furnishing of the audit report. So here date of furnishing of the audit report should not have been there. In 828, they have mentioned this information, but this is, I think, wrong. 828, 827, date of furnishing of the audit report. Because if we say, for example, any of the institution having received not more than ₹5 crore, they are not required to furnish 10B or 10BB. Then they are required to get their books of accounts audited under local state act, either Cooperative Society Act or Society Registration Act or any other education department. But that report is not required to be furnished to the income tax department. So that, and the date of furnishing of that report is to any other department should not have been there. So I think either they want that whether we have furnished. So furnishing means we have furnished it online. If we have say, for example, in the Bombay Society Act, if we are required to furnish any report in physical mode, then that is required to be mentioned here. So furnishing word should not have been there, because maybe even if you have not furnished the report under that act, I think there should not have been any violation. Maybe there violation under any other law, but that report can be furnished if the due date is extended even after due date of filing of the ITR. We can furnish it later on. So this is some wrong drafting error. Furnishing of the audit report word is, I think, wrongly mentioned here. So this column is I like to discuss here. Then substantial contributor column is also there in another C. Name of this, in case of any of the person mentioned it in his first 829, details of all the author, founder, settler, trustee, member of the society at any time during the previous year. So if any of the person is trustee at any time during the previous year, maybe he was a trustee for only for the 2 months, he was the office bearer only for the 2 months, his information is required to be furnished here. If that person is not an individual, furnish here information. Then name of the person who has made substantial contributor to the trust during the previous year. So here some, I think, either again drafting error, because section 13 subsection 3 requires 13(1)(c) specifies that any of the person who has made a substantial contribution up to the end of the previous year. So up to the end of previous year, if it exceeds 50,000, then he is a substantial contributor. However, here they have asked for only the information up during the previous year, substantial contribution to the trust during the previous year. So this is, I think, wrong. But here we can relax that we are only required to report only the substantial contribution received during this previous year. And any of the relative of the author, founder, trustee, or any of the relative of the substantial contributor also. So here one thing we must keep in mind, may be possible a chartered accountant who may also be a substantial contributor. Then, or any of the relative of the chartered accountant has made substantial contribution. Then any of the relative of the chartered accountant or any of the if chartered accountant himself is a substantial contributor, he cannot carry out the audit of that person in form number 10B or 10BB. So we must keep only this thing also in mind. Then this is the schedule 1. Details of amount accumulated or set apart within the meaning of 11(2). So if we have furnished form number 10 in any preceding year, then we are required to furnish this information, or if form number 10 has been filed for this financial year, we are required to furnish this information under the schedule 1. If we have not utilized the earlier amount, that will become the income of the current year itself. Here they have mentioned one thing they have mentioned here. for financial year 2016-17 and for the financial year 2017-18, column number 15 should be considered as total of the column number 9, 10, and 11. So if any of the fund has been accumulated in any earlier year by way of furnishing form number 10, and that year is pertaining to financial year 16-17 and 17-18, and if that amount has not been spent during the financial year 22-23, then that amount will become taxable under section 115 BBI. So this is also mentioned in the utility by way of a flag. So please keep in mind, funds of financial year 17-18 has to be compulsorily spent during financial year 22-23. Otherwise, it will become taxable in the current financial year 22-23, and it will be liable under 115 BBI. Then if any amount has been taxed in any earlier year, if it was not kept invested in modes specified under section 11.5, or if it was accumulation was given by way of donation to any other trust, because we cannot give any accumulation of form number 10 to any other trust in any subsequent year, so it will attract tax, and so this information is required to be given in schedule 1A. Then this schedule D. Schedule D of the deemed application under clause 2 of the explanation 1 to 11.1. So this requires the information of the form number 9A. If we have furnished form number 9A for any of the preceding year or for the current year, we are to furnish this information in the schedule D. So here they have given us option of only this 6 years. For the 17-18, 18-19, 19-20, 20-21, 21-22, and prior to financial year 17-18. So if any of the funds has been accumulated by way of form number 9A for any year preceding to 17-18, because we can accumulate fund for unlimited period by way of furnishing form number 9A, but there should be certain condition. So in the column number 3, they have asked for the condition. If amount has not been received, if amount is not received, then we can accumulate it for unlimited period until and unless the amount is received. In the form number 10, we can accumulate it only for the 5 years. But in form number 9A, we can accumulate it until the amount is received. Say, for example, any of the institution has made investment in the fixed deposit. That fixed deposit has been made in the bank for a period of 10 years. So accrued interest will be received on completion of FDR after 10 years. So we can carry forward this amount for 10 years. So we will have to mention for any amount not received. If we select any other reason, maybe possible the amount has been received by the trust as on 31st March 2023, amount donation of rupees, voluntary contribution of rupees 1 crore was received on 31st March. So 85 lakh could not be spent on the 31st March itself. Amount is received, but it could not be spent. So when we will furnish the form number 9A, we will have to select any other reason because amount is already received. In this second condition, amount is compulsorily required to be spent in the immediately succeeding year. If amount is received in financial year 22-23, that amount is compulsorily to be spent in the financial year 2023-24. So if you are selecting any other reason, please keep in mind that amount will have to be spent in next year. And if you have selected amount not received, you can accumulate it until and unless that amount is received. And this utility automatically shows if you have selected any other reason, that amount cannot be carried forward in this column 9. So this column 9 will become 0. In my example, I have selected that this 2000 amount was for any other reason. So this 2000 is not going in column 9. It has stopped only at the column 8. And this is aggregate of the 47,000 rupees have become taxable. Schedule DA. If in any earlier year, if I have accumulated any amount by way of form number 9A, and that amount could not be spent towards object of the trust, or that amount was received even though I had not spent that amount, then that amount will become taxable in that year when this amount was received, or the period of 1 year has expired. So that information is to be given in this column, Schedule DA. Schedule J. Schedule J is pertaining to the details of corpus. Schedule J, statement showing the funds and investment as on the last day of the previous year, to be filled in by the assessee claiming exemption under section 11 and 12 or 1023C 4, 5, 6 or 6A. So here we have to give information of the corpus donation. There are three options: representation donation received. I think fully this is not here. Received for whole option. Received for 80G2B. So if any of the institution which is qualifying for exemption under section 80G2B, they have received donation for the purpose of corpus, or they have themselves set apart the voluntary contribution towards the corpus, then that information will have to be given here. Then another option, other than one. If any of the donation received by institution other than one on or after 1st April 2021 is required to be furnished here in this column, or if any of the corpus donation which is not covered in 1 and 2, that donation is to be mentioned here in this option Roman 3. Maybe possible the corpus donation has been received in the year 2015, 16 or 2001 or 1999, maybe any year. So that period, any period before 1st April 2021 is required to be mentioned in Roman 3. And any amount applied out of that purpose will not be treated as a application of income, even if that amount has been deposited back or invested, because the law has inserted, Finance Act 2023 has inserted a explanation that any amount spent before 1st April 2021 will not be treated as application of income, even if corpus fund has been deposited back. Similarly, in case of loan and borrowing, they have made this condition that if any of the loan or borrowing has been made before 1st April 2021, so if repayment of any of the loan which was taken before 1st April 2021, that amount will not be treated as an application of income. So you must keep in mind this thing also here. Then details of corpus investment made under section 11.5 as on 31/2023. So if any of the funds which has been received towards corpus, that corpus is compulsorily required to be invested in the modes specified under section 11.5 of the Act. If any of the amount which is received, even received before 1st April 2021 or even during the year or even any year, if that is not invested in 11.5 mode, that will become taxable in the income of the current year. However, there is one problem. Under the Income Tax Act, for the purpose of section 80G2B, they have specifically mentioned that if any of the amount has been invested under section 11.5 mode for claiming exemption for taking the fund to the corpus as per section 80G2B, that amount will become taxable in the year in which it ceases to remain invested in 11.5 modes. But for the purpose of 11.1D, other than 80G2B, they have not mentioned, they have nowhere mentioned that, say for example, the donation was received in the financial year 2017-18. Amount was received of rupees 5 lakh that was invested in the 11.5 modes. And due to oversight, in the financial year 2022-23, that amount of rupees 5 lakh remain ceased to be invested in the 11.5 modes. That amount was given by way of an advance to any of the trustee or any of the other person that does not qualify for 11 subsection 5. So that amount will become, whether Income Tax Act section 11.1 or any of the explanation of section 11.1 has not specified that if any of the corpus donation, if ceases to remain invested in any subsequent year in which this amount will become taxable. But in my opinion, that amount will become taxable in the year in which such old corpus ceases to become violation of 11 subsection 5. So in the current year, this amount will become taxable. So this is the balance sheet which we are required to fill up here. In this balance sheet also the corpus, we have to mention the corpus under various subheads. Corpus out of the donation received for renovation or repair out for the places notified under ATG 2B. So if any of the institution which have received any of the temple or church or Gurudwara has received any donation which is for the purpose of repair or renovation, and that institution is notified under ATG 2B of the Act. And that donation, even if voluntary contribution is voluntarily treated by the institution as a corpus donation, that is required to be mentioned under this column A. Column B, other corpus received on or after 1st April 2021. So any of the other corpus donation received on or after 1st April 2021 is to be shown here. Any other corpus other than 1 and B is to be mentioned here. Income accumulated under third proviso or form 11.2 is to be mentioned here. So if any of the income is accumulated by way of form number 10, that income is to be mentioned here. Balance amount of deemed income being exemption claimed in earlier year on account of deemed application and required to be applied in financial year 23-24 onwards. That amount is to be mentioned here. Any other reserve, loans and borrowing, advances. So these are normal columns. Then another important thing is this last column 5, 6 and 7. Total application of the funds. Out of the 5, investment made in modes specified under section 11 subsection 5. So if any of the funds which is not invested in 11.5 at the end of the year, then that amount is to be mentioned here in the column number 7 of this schedule. Then this is the schedule R. Reconciliation of the corpus, schedule J. So here you are also required to reconcile this schedule corpus along with the balance sheet. Schedule corpus has to be reconciled with the schedule balance sheet. Then LA, political party. So I think this is not applicable for much of the us. And this is electoral trust, not applicable much to the us. And aggregate of the income derived during the previous year, excluding voluntary contribution. Say for any of the educational institution which is filing the ITR, any of the school fees received by them is to be mentioned here. Receipts from incidental object is to be mentioned here. Any rental income or any other interest income, FDR interest is to be mentioned here. So any of the capital asset has been sold by the institution, so net consideration is to be mentioned here.
Rajesh ji,
yes,
please,
sir, yes, sir.
Please go to VC schedule, just above it.
VC schedule, okay.
Yeah, just above it.
Yes. So this is the VC schedule. So this is, so any of the other contribution is required to be mentioned here. Any donation which is not voluntary contribution is to be mentioned under schedule A1. And any voluntary contribution, that contribution is required to be mentioned under voluntary contribution, corpus donation or other than corpus donation, foreign contribution, anonymous donation.
Then in VC schedule,
yes,
just go to VC schedule.
Yes.
Why this corpus other than corpus donations? Corpus other than above. What will be in this amount? Corpus other than above.
Corpus other than where, in which corpus other than above, A1B.
Yeah.
So they have mentioned here 3 categories. Corpus donation. Corpus donation is the A1, AB.
Yeah.
A1 is the corpus representing ATG 2B donation.
Yeah.
ATG 2B is the specific donation, and any other donation other than ATG 2B donation is to be mentioned under this column.
But I want to say this corpus donation is the exempt donation, na?
So this will be excluded. This will be excluded.
Excluded.
This will be excluded. So you will see that. You will see here. So this will be included only if there is any violation of the condition 11 and 12. So column A1 and A1A, this A1A and A1B, this will be included in the income if there is any violation of section 11 and section 12. If there is no violation of 11-12, this will be automatically excluded from the normal voluntary contribution.
Automatic, but we have to fill it up.
We have to fill it up, yes.
And it will be automatically taken out.
They have mentioned in the utility, that if that any of the donation, which if there is any violation of 11 and 12, then only this A1A and A1B will be considered for the purpose of 143 1A. CPC will automatically include this amount in your income.
Okay.
So this is not taxable amount.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir. So this is any other income other than voluntary contribution, other than corpus donation is required to be mentioned under the schedule A1, then schedule A. Schedule A is the amount.
Please come to AI schedule.
AI. Yes, sir. Yes.
Serial number 9, any other income, specify the nature and amount.
Yes.
What can come in that row?
So, sir, any of the income which is not covered under 1 to 8, you may treat any of the other income which is not coming under column 1 to 8.
That income should also be income from trust property.
Yes, that should be income derived from property held under trust.
Suppose any trust has received some advertisement from souvenir or then whether that amount can come in this net consideration, this any other income.
If any of the amount has been received in souvenir, if that is towards the religious and charitable purposes towards the object of the trust, then only that income is to be mentioned here. If it is a business income, or if it is any business which is incidental to this, so this will not come here. Separate business schedule, business and profit and gain of business schedule is there. That income will go to there. Okay. If it is not business income, it is religious or charitable, then it will only come here under this schedule.
Okay.
Schedule A. Schedule A is the amount applied towards stated object of the trust or institution during the previous year from all sources referred to in C1 to C7 of this table, to be filled by assessee claiming exemption under section 11 or 12, 11 and 12 or 1023C 4, 5, 6 or 6A. So any of the amount which is applied towards object of the trust is to be mentioned under the schedule A. Donation to the trust or institution registered under 12A or 1023C. So this is to be mentioned here, revenue or capital. Religious expenses, religious relief to poor, educational, yoga, medical relief, preservation of environment, all these are to be mentioned here. Cost of the new asset. If new asset is claimed for the purpose of section 11, subsection 1, capital A, that is also to be mentioned here, net consideration, amount to be mentioned here. Then expenditure not allowed as application other than application out of B1 and B1 to B8. That amount is to be mentioned here in this column B. Donation to the trust or institution registered under 12 AB or approved. Donation to trust. If any of the donation has been made to any of the trust or institution, that amount, if it is not allowable, then it is to be mentioned here. May be possible any of the trust or institution which is exempted under 80G2B of that. They have set apart some funds towards corpus. And if out of that corpus, they have made some donation, then this will come here. Donation to trust or institution registered or approved under this date towards corpus in case of donation out of accumulated income. If corpus donation is given out of accumulated, it is to be mentioned, it is also not allowed. Donation to trust or institution registered not having same object. If we are giving donation to any other trust or institution which is not, even if we are giving out of current year's income to any other trust, if it is not having same object, then it will be disallowed. If it is having same object, it will be allowed. Donation to any person other than trust or institution. So if donation has been made to any other person which is not allowable, if say for example, we have given any medical relief to any person, we have given any relief to any poor person, that will not come under 4. If the donation is disallowable, then only it is to be mentioned under this 4. Application outside India for which approval is obtained. So if approval is obtained, that is certainly allowable. even if approval is obtained, but it is disallowable, say for example, TDS was required to be deducted or any of the violation of any other law, even if approval is obtained, but any other violation has been committed, therefore that amount has become disallowable. So even if approval obtained, but that amount is disallowable, that is to be mentioned under column 5. And if any amount is applied outside India for which approval is also not obtained, that is to be mentioned under this column 6. Applied to any purpose beyond the object of the trust or institution. Say for example, any of the trust or institution is exclusively for the religious purposes, not for the charitable purposes. But that institution has given donation to the poor person, that institution has given medical relief to the other persons, that institution has applied funds for the medical help to other person, that will not be treated for the purpose of object of the trust. That amount will come under this column 7. Any other disallowable application. Sources of fund to meet revenue and capital expenditure in row A. So how you have met this source is to be mentioned under this column C. Total amount applied during this year. A12 minus B, this amount is here. Amount actually paid, amount which was not actually paid during the year. So in about D, if any of the amount is mentioned under A12 and that amount is not paid during the previous year, that is outstanding as of 31st March 2023. Say for example, the audit fees provision has been made and audit fees has been paid only after 31st March 2023. So that provision will come here. Any liability has been incurred, if there are any sundry creditors which are outstanding for any of the expenses, salary is payable, any provident fund contribution which has been collected from the employees or which is collected from the employees, that is outstanding as on 31st March 2023, that has been paid on 1st April or 10th April or 14th of the April. That amount will have to be mentioned here. That will not be allowed during the year, that will be allowed in the immediately succeeding year. So that you will have to mention here. Schedule voluntary contribution. So schedule voluntary contribution is here. Corpus donation is also to be mentioned here. Grant received from government, other donation, voluntary contribution, domestic A1 and A1 plus A3, A2E. So this is A1 and A2E. A2 is the total. So here, so even if this amount of rupees 1,20,000 is here, if you have violated condition of section 11 and 12, then only this will be treated as income by way of by the CPC. Foreign contribution, anonymous donation. Anonymous donation applicable to assessee claiming exemption under section 11 or 1023C, 4, 5, 6 or 6A or 3AD or 3AE. So that amount is to be mentioned here. Anonymous donation, we all are aware, if any of the institution is exclusively for charitable purposes and that institution receives any anonymous donation, that will be covered under 115 BBC. If any of the institution is for the purpose of religious and charitable both, then any of the anonymous donation by such institution only towards medical and education purpose will be covered under anonymous donation. And if any of the donation received by charitable and religious institution other than for the purpose of medical and education will not be covered under 115 BBC. Schedule ER. Amount applied to stated object.
Just 1 minute.
Yes, sir.
Sir, voluntary contribution.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Here, the foreign contribution.
Yes.
The clause is foreign contribution. Should we include the contribution received plus interest together?
Yes, here
interest on foreign contribution should be added here, or in another schedule there is a interest provision is there, income. Should we add here foreign contribution interest also?
Other than, I think you should mention here other than corpus donation. Other than corpus donation will come here, because foreign contribution figure will have to be picked up from here. So other than corpus donation, so you are not required to mention in that other schedule. you are required to mention, even if only interest is received, that will have to be mentioned here other than corpus donation. Because as per FCRA Act, sir, as per FCRA Act, yes.
Interest plus foreign contributions together.
Yes, yes. Interest for foreign contribution other than corpus is to be mentioned here. Yes, sir. So ER, amount applied towards stated object of the trust or institution during the previous year from all sources referred to in E1 to E7 of this table. Revenue account to be filled by SSC claiming exemption under 1112 or 1023C 456 or 67. So all the breakup of expenses are to be mentioned here. Because in the 10B or 10BB, we are not required to mention the breakup of any expenditure, but here we are required to mention breakup of all expenditure, rent, repair, compensation, workmen, compensation to workmen or advertisement, any other expenses are to be mentioned here. So this is here. Amount applied during this year. So this figure will have to be filled up by us. Here one thing is income of earlier year up to 15%. If we are applying any of the amount, E, under this column E, source of fund to meet revenue application in row D. If income derived from property, income earned during previous year, excluding corpus, this is to be mentioned here. Income deemed to be applied in any previous year, preceding previous year. That is to be mentioned here. Income of earlier year up to 15%. So if income of earlier is, if any of the expenses has been made out of income of earlier year, which was accumulated up to 15%, that is to be mentioned here. So those amount will not be treated as an application of income during the current year. Schedule EC, amount applied towards charitable purposes in India for the stated object of the trust or institution on capital account. So any of the capital expenditure has been made, this is to be separately mentioned here. Source of the fund. Yes. Then schedule IE. So this is not much relevant for us. IE2 is also not. IE4 is much relevant for us. Income and expenditure applicable to assessee claiming exemption under section 3AD or 3A. So if any of the institution having gross receipt not more than ₹5 crore and not covered under 10B, then they are required to furnish only ITR 7 and fill up this IE form. So they are to give an object of the institution. So education or medical only. Then this information is required. Gross annual receipt is to be mentioned here. Amount applied towards object of the trust and balance is accumulated. Schedule house property. This is not much relevant because this is only applicable when section 13 subsection 10 comes into play, or if any of the trust or institution which is not taking this income to the section 11 and 12. So if any of the other rental income is derived, that is income derived from property held under trust, so that we will have to mention in other schedule other than schedule HP. So this is not required for us. Schedule capital gain is not required. Other source is not required. For VDA is not required. Schedule OA. Do you have any other income under the head business and profession? If any of the trust or institution is having any business income, then this column is required to be filled up. Then the details of business and profession income is required to be mentioned here. Schedule current year losses. If any of the institution is having business income also, then this business loss schedule is required, or capital loss or other schedule is required here. Schedule PTI is not relevant because this is passed through income. Then income chargeable to tax at the special rates. So any income chargeable, if there is any capital gain which is not covered under section 11 and 12, then this capital gain or 115 BB is, however, in most of the cases not applicable to the trust. But if any of the trust is carrying on any business income, then in some of the circumstances, some of the other income 115 BB may be applicable to that trust. Then here 115 BBC is also there, but that is only for the pass-through income. 115 TD. So this schedule is also required to be filled up. If any of the trust or institution is attracted section 115 TD, so this will become applicable here. So from the assessment year 2023-24, this 115 TD is also applicable to the institutions covered under section 1023C Roman 4, 5, 6 and 6A. Earlier to assessment year 2023-24, 115 TD was applicable only for the purpose of institution covered under 111 and 12 only. So this scope has been expanded to 1023C also from assessment year 2023-24. So please keep in mind the amendment made under 115 TD. So in the under 115 TD, we have to do the valuation of assets as per rule 17B. Fixed asset will have to be valued as per rule 17B. 115 BBI. Under this 115 BBI, deemed income referred to in explanation 4 to the 1023C or 11.3. So if any of the form number 10 has been violated, this information will come here. Deemed income referred to in 11.1B, form number 9A, if any of the violation of 9A, this will come here. Then income which is deemed to be covered under this 13.1C. 13.1C income, if any of the fund has been applied towards the specified persons, that income will have to be covered here. Then 13.1D, this income, if any of the benefit has been provided to a specified person or amount has been lent to the any of the property has been let out to the specified person at less than specified amount, less than normal market rate, fair market value, that will be covered here. Income which is not covered, not excluded due to 11.1C, if any amount has been applied outside India due to applicability of 11.1C, that amount will come here for which approval has not been obtained. Income accumulated or set apart in excess of 15% of the income, where such accumulation is not allowed under any condition of the Act. So that amount is to be mentioned here. But utility is automatically taking this amount if which is accumulated in over and above 15%. So this amount accumulated in excess of 15% will automatically come here. Schedule FSI, details of income from outside India. So any foreign source income is there, tax relief in case of foreign. Then if no entry is made in first row, so this is not for any asset or foreign asset information is to be given here. Details of shareholding is to be given here. Part B, TI and TTI. So statement of income for the period ending on 31st March 2023. Applicable if exemption is being claimed under 11 and 12 or 1023C, 4, 5, 6 and 6A. So these things are voluntary contribution other than corpus donation and anonymous donation. This amount is to be here. Schedule BC from A1 and AB1. Then here is the thing. Voluntary contribution. Earlier someone had asked one question. So kindly read here. You had asked for the voluntary contribution, corpus donation. So here they have given the answer. Voluntary contribution forming part of the corpus other than anonymous donation taxable under 115 BBC. A plus B. Schedule Part B TI minus Part B1. Note, if conditions specified under section 11 and 12 are violated, this field will be considered for adjustment under 143(1). So if any corpus donation section 11, 12 condition are not fulfilled, then only this amount will become here taxable. Here also they have mentioned by way of a flag, if condition specified in 11 and 12 are violated, then this field will be considered for adjustment under section 143(1)(a), 143(1). Otherwise, corpus donation is excluded. Other than corpus donation is to be mentioned here. corpus donation representing corpus donation received for renovation or repair for places notified under ATG to be covered here. Corpus donation, corpus other than A1 and B1B of VC. Then aggregate of income referred to in 11, 12 and section 1023C, 4, 5, 6 and 6A, excluding the voluntary contribution included in one above. Amount eligible for exemption under 11(1)C, so CBDT approval will have to be mentioned here. Then amount of income for charitable or religious purposes for stated objects of the trust or institution. Amount applied during the previous year, excluding application from borrowed fund or deemed application, previous year accumulation. So this amount is to be mentioned here. Repayment of loan during the previous year. Amount applied during the previous year, invested or deposited back, this is to be mentioned here. So this will be treated as an application of income during the year in which amount is invested or deposited back in the corpus fund. Amount deemed to have been applied. So this is form number 9A information. Then amount accumulated or set apart, this is the form number accumulated or set apart for application to charitable or religious purposes. So this is our form number 10 information is given in this Roman 5, then Roman 6. Amount in addition to amount referred to in this accumulated or set apart for specified purposes if all the conditions of 11.5 are fulfilled. Schedule 1, so Schedule 1 figure will come here. If form number 10 is furnished, then only this amount will be allowable here. Then additions, income chargeable under 115 BBI. So income covered under 115 BBI figure will come here from the schedule. 115 BBI schedule, serial number 7, this will be populated here. Income in respect of which exemption under section 11 is not available, being anonymous donation. So anonymous donation is treated in total, included in total income, but that is liable for a special rate. That will also be mentioned here. So double taxation will not be here. Income chargeable under 12 subsection 2. So if any of the benefit has been provided to a specified person, in case of the medical and educational institution, only the difference of amount which is a concession has been provided to a specified person, that amount will come under this Roman 3 of the column 7. Any disallowance under 40A1A, 40A3, if any of the payment has been made in violation of 40A3 or if 40A1A violation is there, that violation will come here and that will not be allowed to be accumulated. So that will be specifically taxable. So that amount cannot be exempted by way of any form 9A or any other. So that will be taxable over and above the amount taxable under other column 6. So income chargeable under 11 subsection 4. So if any of the institution is carrying out any business which is incidental to the attainment of objective of the trust, then if any of the income is inflated, they have shown excessive income because that income is exempted under section 11. If the auditor himself has assessed excess income, however, as per section 11.4, that is the duty of the assessing officer. But if the auditor himself has discovered that the assessee has shown this excess income, then the assessee trust itself is required to show here that excess income is only to be reported. If there is no excess income, this column is to be left to be treated as 0. Gross income after exemption of 11, 12, 30, 11 or 1023C4. This is our gross income after claiming exemption of 11 and 1023C. Income not forming part of this, income from house property, profit and gain of business and profession, income from capital gain, long-term capital gain. B63. One thing, B63. One thing we must keep in mind, this 6.3 60, there is some small drafting error by the income tax in ITR 7. They have mentioned under this heading is there, application of income for charitable or religious purposes or for the stated object of the trust or institution. In this one, they have mentioned amount applied during the previous year, excluding application from borrowed fund. Repayment of loan is application. Amount applied during the previous year, invested or deposited back into the specified mode of the corpus, disallowed earlier on application of fund for object of the trust or institution. So here they have mentioned word the disallowed. So disallowed word should not have been used here. They would have used here amount which was not allowed in earlier year on application of fund. If any amount is disallowed in earlier year, that will be disallowed in the current year also. If any amount which was not allowed in earlier year because that was application was made out of corpus fund, and whenever that fund has been deposited back or invested, then in that year, so this only word small technical error, but that may cause some confusion. So disallowed word is wrongly used. They should have used here not allowed earlier, which is allowed in this year because that amount has been deposited back or invested in accordance with this. So here column number 16 is important. If any of the fund is accumulated in excess of the 15%, that will be liable for tax included here. If any of the amount which is not paid at the end of the previous year, say for example, any provident fund contribution, any salary outstanding, any TDS outstanding at the end of the previous year, that amount will come here and that will become liable for tax under 115 BBI. So other things are normal. 115 BBC special rate taxation will also be here. So 115 BBC will also be covered here. And then this is the tax payment details are to be mentioned here. TCS details are to be mentioned here. TDS detail is to be mentioned here. And this is the verification part. So these all are the. So in every schedule,
Rajesh ji?
Yes,
Rajesh ji?
Yes, yes,
sir. No, I had some earlier commitment for half an hour, so I was not there. But
yes,
anyway, just there are some new schedules. If you can bring those schedule in the return,
please,
you can open them.
Yes,
there
please cover dear Akhil ji. Yes,
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 you can open those schedule. One schedule, the
so,
amendment is there.
So either you are having this
I
idea,
and IA.
Or please tell me this.
Can you take us to schedule I?
Schedule I, okay.
Because these are important schedule which have been amended in the current year return.
Yes, this is the schedule, Akhilji. So I have covered this schedule. Yes, yes.
There is one schedule I and IA.
IA, yes, sir. So this is schedule I,
yeah,
IA.
I and IA.
Tell it as a 1A or 1A.
Yeah, the detail of amount accumulated or set apart within the meaning of 11.2. So all these, as per the financial year, this amount has to be mentioned. And there are two columns which have been added. Like you are showing IA most probably, I think. Some two columns have been added. That amount
now
of
I am
tax in
showing
any.
schedule 1. Schedule 1 is here.
Yeah, schedule 1, schedule I or schedule 1. So the two columns here are added, that amount tax in any earlier assessment year and balance available for application. And what is more important, with Finance Act 2022, they have amended the year from 6 years, because earlier we could apply this accumulated money in the 6th year itself, up to 5 or 6th year. But now the act is amended up to 5 year only, that we can accumulate and have to apply this accumulation by the 5th year. So that is the change.
So here they have mentioned, they have given in the utility, they have given this flag. So I had mentioned in my deliberation that they have given the flag also in the utility, that for the purpose, this is flag is the utility itself. So financial year 16-17 and 17-18, this if amount could not be utilized up to the end of the previous year, up to 31st March 2023 of the financial year 17-18 and 16-17, that year, that amount will become taxable in the year itself, in the financial year 23-24, assessment year 23-24, and that will be liable for tax under section 115 BBI. So when you will see 8,77,500, this has automatically gone to the schedule 115 BBI. So this 100 it has automatically come to here.
And
This is covered under 100.
similarly,
Yes.
similarly, Schedule D, which is for Form 9A, which
Yes,
is like
this is
accrued
Schedule D.
income
Yes,
but
yes.
not utilized.
Yes.
Schedule D and DA, I think those have been
Yes.
added. And
Yes.
these are the columns we have to be take care of.
Yes,
That
yes.
is one I just wanted to point out that.
Yes, yes.
And another clause, another schedule which is very important, there have been some changes, is Schedule J. Because there is a Schedule J and Schedule R. Because now in the income tax return, we have to attach the very audited balance sheet and the income and expenditure. Apart from that, we have to fill in the balance sheet and the profit and loss account also, income and expenditure in the trust return. And then those balance sheet figures will have to be reconciled with Schedule R. There is a Schedule R is there and Schedule J.
Yes.
And when you open Schedule J, sir, can you open? This is Schedule J. Because in Schedule J, when you talk about corpus fund, there are 3 sub-columns in corpus fund, Schedule J. That one is represented by donation received for renovation or repair of places notified under Section 80G2B on or after 1st April 2020. And other than one above, received on or after 1st April 2021. And then the third is other than 1 and 2. So what is the importance? That because there was an amendment in the corpus fund that all corpus fund received after 1st April 2021 will have to be separately shown, and they have to be maintained in a separate bank account or separately so that they can be disclosed. So when you are filling in your corpus fund, one has to be take care of these Schedule J, because then against this you will have to show the investment also, that where these funds have been invested.
Yes.
So one has to take care that any funds which have been received before 1st April 2021, they should be shown in an appropriate column, because though there was no condition for showing separately, then other than which have been received after 1st April 2021 and regarding that which have been received for repair and purchase of notified under 80G2B. So these kind of amendments I just wanted to highlight, Schedule J. And if you can also open Schedule R, sir, Rajesh sir, can you open Schedule R?
This is Schedule R, yes. This is Schedule R.
Yeah, this is a new reconciliation of corpus of Schedule J and the balance sheet. So this we will have to do, because if we, this is now kind of a puzzle which you have to solve as a practicing chartered accountant, that all columns will have to be reconciled. If there is a corpus fund, whether it is matching with the investment, if there is whatever amount we are showing in the balance sheet, whether it is matching with our corpus fund which we are showing in the return. So this Schedule R we will try to reconcile that closing balance as on 31st March 23 as per the Schedule J, then whatever the assets or depreciation or anything, and then closing balance, and then corpus out of donation received for this, other corpus and other than corpus. Your balance sheet total of the corpus fund should match with this corpus figures, because there will be 3 columns or 1 column in your balance sheet. So this Schedule R also has to be filled in the return. This is also very important. Just wanted to bring to that. Thank you, Jay. Thank you.
Yes, sir. So these all schedules have been completed, and I would advise that we should validate each and every schedule every time. So as and when this schedule is validated, then we shall go ahead. Every schedule has validation tab. So every after validation, we should go ahead. And in this schedule part B TI, this is the final our important schedule. Here we will have to calculate the tax. So as and when we have completed all our ITR, then you will have to mention this amount here. Then thereafter this schedule will be validated. So here they have mentioned that some thing has been left. So that schedule has brought me here. So if there is any mistake, if there is any column left blank, then this tax will not be computed. So here in Schedule B, TI and TTI, I have clicked the tab Calculate Tax. So please enter amount received or treated as corpus during the year at serial number 1. So it is automatically brought me to the Schedule J, and they have mentioned that under this here you are required to mention So something I have left to blank here. So they have mentioned me that kindly come to this schedule. So as and when this is validated, this is rectified, then only this will be completed. Treated as corpus. Opening balance as on this date, amount treated. Then when the schedule is okay, then I will go to the schedule B and TTI. And now calculate the tax. Then again, if some column C1 is schedule, R must be same as column A1A. So if any of the some mistake is there, this will bring you to here. So here now this figure has become 10 lakhs. So this is, however, earlier just now I have modified this. So this difference has come. If this difference is rectified, then schedule will be automatically, this ITR will be validated, and then we can do it complete. So this was my discussion on the ITR form. So I think we could be able to discuss some of the issues of ITR 7.
Rajesh ji,
Yes,
Akhil ji, there is one issue which I would like to discuss. A national importance charitable organization is there, which is registered under 223C Roman 4, and it has accrued interest which has not been received as yet. And last 4 or 5 years they are accumulating it for 5 years as per the 223C. Because of similar 9A provision is not there 23C. They are land up problem in this year, because in this year that amount which has been accumulated being taxable. But in fact, the amount has not been received, only being accumulated and only been accrued interest. So what should be the remedy for suppose I don't want to pay tax on that, because in fact, I am not liable to pay tax on that, because had the 9A provision be there in the 23C, I would have carried it for until number of years.
So sir, I would advise that in ITR form, you can carry forward this income to next year, and relevant TDS also you can carry forward to any next year when you will show this income. So you should not include this in your income. However, form number 9A option is not there. But so since this amount is not received, you cannot spend it. So either you will accumulate it for a period of 5 years by way of form number 10, or you can accumulate it for any other reason, but only for 1 year. And form number 9A is not here, so you cannot accumulate it by way of 9A. So you should not include this in your income. Whenever this is received, you can include it in your income. So any amount which is not received, you cannot spend.
But in that
how long can enforce you that spend 85%?
No, but in schedule I have to fill it up now. When I will fill up this section assessment year 16, 17, 17, 18, that will automatically take it as a deemed income. So how to come out of that?
So you will have to do some exercise.
Sorry to cut you. Just I think the way forward, not for the earlier year, the way forward could be that you shift from the accrual system of accounting to cash system of accounting.
That is all right. From current year I can do it, but for previous year
immediately should do that. That's done.
But 16, 17, 17, 18 becoming taxable this year.
Yes. That amount will become taxable in this year, sir. So for this situation, you may either have to go to some appeal. If you should exclude it, and department will make prima facie adjustment under 143(1)(a) for that amount which is not spent. So you may have to go to either appeal or file rectification application, because that amount is not received. How I can spend?
That is why my question is that in the ITR 7, how can I exclude that income, that deemed income? That is the technical problem.
It cannot be excluded. Once it is, once it is been shown as accumulation under 11.2 or
so
under that column for 5 years, automatically it will become taxable now.
So you will have to again do some.
Can I go to CBDT? Can I, after paying tax, can I go to CBDT and ask for the revision of the
You cannot go to CBDT. You will have to file rectification application, or you may again take this amount to the current year accumulation to the financial year 22-23. So this will again be accumulated, because however it is not practically possible, but only this is the shortcut and way out. So this is not exactly defined in the law. So there you will have to adopt for the practical situation.
Okay.
Yes, one of the way out could be that whichever amount of income is becoming taxable in 16, 17 and 17, 18.
Yeah.
Similar amount could be, you can file a form and similar amount could be accumulated for next 5 years. Why instead of paying taxes?
Yeah. How can accumulate? Because in the schedule.
No, sir, if that amount is not out of accrued interest, if that amount is not out of accrued interest, utility will not, or income tax law does not allow to accumulate it for. So this is exclusion, or this excuse is only for the accrued interest which is not received.
Sir, I have a question.
Yes, yes. Yes,
sir,
please.
I have a question.
Boli, speak.
This is regarding section 1026. The 1026 means the certain area where the scheduled tribes are residing.
Yes, yes, yes.
Is exempted from tax.
Yes.
I'm talking about that area.
Yes.
So a organization is running there in a very remote area.
Yes.
With the scheduled tribe members.
Yes.
And they have formed a trust. And the main object is to carry, to improve the livelihood of the women as well as the very much poor people of the area. So in the meantime, what they are doing, they are taking the fund from some borrowers and delivering the fund to the women there for income generating programs, and where they are utilizing them and they are repaying to the organization, and then the organization is repaid to the borrowers also. Now in that background, they are also doing some activities like solar. This is the area where the electricity is not available. So they are purchasing the solar light and distributing to them and collecting the amount installment wise so that the loan can be repaid. Now the question is whether it is relief for poor, we can take claim to 15, one limb, or is it a business activity?
Sir, so first of all, you have to determine that your income is covered under 1026 or not. If any of the income is covered exclusively under 1026, if it is connected with that, it is because under 1026, they have not given any such condition that it should be incidental or the condition.
I told only the background, so, but they got the 12 certificate.
You can easily find out that whether it is covered under this is covered under 1026 or not.
So I need some answer from your side, sir.
So, sir, this is, I think, your other specific query. We may give it answer if you can give it us. We will supply to you through Nitesh ji. Because this is, I think, this is not covered under this income will not covered under 11 and 12. Your income will go into 1026. So first of all, we will have to determine whether your income is covered under 1026 or not. If you have a violated condition of 1026, then you will go. Then you will have to decide whether this is relief to poor. Then if it is relief to poor, then we will have to determine whether you are registered under 12 AB or not.
They are registered. They are registered.
If they are registered under 12 AB and if it comes within the relief to the poor, then this is okay. Then this is okay.
That's why
Section 1026, Section 1026 states that Section 1026 of the Income Tax Act provides tax exemption to members of scheduled tribe.
Yes, some
members,
areas,
not institution.
Yeah.
Members of scheduled tribe, and this section exempt income of a person who belongs to a scheduled tribe from tax if the income is earned from any source located in tribal area.
Yeah.
So any income from if it is source is tribal area, then whole income will be exempt at 1026.
Yes.
Of that member.
Income of member.
Of that member, but as a what about the institution? The trust is there.
Institution now it is separate. You see, right now we were talking about
talking about the
1026 section.
institution.
Yeah,
Institution.
1026 only covers the member or individual. It does not cover the institution.
Yeah. So my question about the institution.
The institution is now a
granted-
separate issue, na? Institution
yeah.
that you will have to either get registered under 12 AB or other. Then you will have to claim those exemptions. And definitely, being a specific scheduled tribe, any benefit or any of the first 5-6 limbs, if that
There
is
should
covered,
be
relief to
there
the
should
poor.
be any direct relief to the poor. There should be direct relief to the
Yeah,
poor.
that is there.
If
That
any indirect relief, if you are carrying out business and out of this business income, you are giving relief to the poor. So in case of relief to the poor, you will have to see the section 2 clause 15 as well as proviso to section 2 clause 15. So
yeah, that's why
these all conditions have to be seen. So because your query is so detailed, either you can display your query on our screenshot screen. In written mode, we can bifurcate this into either relief to the poor, carrying out business is incidental to the attainment of objective of the trust, then 20% condition is fulfilled or not. So all these conditions we have to see.
Sir, in case of a temple,
yes,
whether the hundi collection can be treated as corpus donation if a board is placed outside the hundi that any amount donated into this hundi will form part of corpus of the trust.
Yes.
Whether we can take like that.
Yes.
But my point is the letter is not available from the donor. That is the problem.
Okay. So law does not
can it be treated
specify.
as corpus?
So, however, law does not specify. However, law says, section 11(1)(d) says that any of the donation received towards corpus of the trust with specific direction that itself form part of the corpus of the trust. So, for the purpose of specific direction, they have not mentioned that it should be in written. So, if you are maintaining a hundi and under that you have mentioned a box, and that box and there is a notice board. That notice board should be under a resolution by your management. That should be authorized by your management that this donation box will be treated as towards corpus. You can take it to the corpus. Because in case of religious trust, there is no anonymous donation. There is 115 BBC is not applicable. So this is not an issue. Only condition is, only benefit you are receiving that you are not required to spend 85% in the current year itself. You are taking it as a corpus.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Another question, sir, relating to non-religious trust.
Yes.
Repayment of loan taken before 1/4/21. It is to be straightly not allowed, sir.
Yes, straightly not allowed. Straightly not allowed.
How come, sir? It is applied from the income, but still it is not allowed.
Still not allowed, sir.
And
because
we have not claimed any relief, sir. If we have not claimed that application out of the loan as
in my opinion, sir, in my opinion, on the relief, you can go to the appeal, you can go to the ITAT, and you can go to the. Ultimately, you will have to go to the High Court, or directly you can go to the High Court by way of writ petition. That it should not be retrospectively applicable. But they have inserted it IBID. They have inserted it IBID in the Income Tax Act. This 1/4/21 is inserted IBID. So they may say that this is not retrospective.
My view is different, Rajesh ji, in this matter.
Yes,
because I am the view that law does not permit to be so harsh, even if it is specially provided that if it is a loan outstanding on 1/4/21 also, and if apply later on, it will be allowed. But you have to go for litigation.
Yes,
I advise not to go for writ. You go for direct remedy with CIT appeal and tribunal, then you will get finally relief.
That is.
But I will advise not to go to writ, because writ, if it is gone, then your all remedies are gone.
All remedies are gone.
Okay,
This
sir.
is right.
One more thing, sir. In case of institution registered under 12AB, can we file the return to avoid all this headache of 10BB? Can we file a return under section 1020C3AD and claim exemption there as the turnover is below 5 crores?
Yes.
Whether 115 TD will come into picture in that case?
No. If your gross receipt is not more than rupees 5 crore and you have not received any other voluntary contribution, then you can directly go into the 1023C Roman 3 AD.
Because there is not even a necessity to
For
file an audit.
section 12 AB is there only specially for purpose of claiming voluntary contribution towards object of the trust. If there is no voluntary contribution, only the educational receipt, then you can skip 12 AB registration. However, 115 TD will also not come into play here because you have not violated any of the condition of 115 TD. So 12 AB conditions are not violated. So you can go.
If the education institution maintains a hostel,
yeah,
or maintains buses for commuting the students, and textbook sales, whether these should be treated as incidental businesses, and
yes. In case of
separate books of
education,
account have to be maintained.
Sir, in case of educational institution, as per section 2 clause 15, there are various clauses: education, medical, relief to the poor, and the last clause is the any other object of the general public utility. So for the purpose of any other object of general public utility, there should, as regard incidental business, there is restriction of 20%. As regard education, there is no restriction of 20%. First. Second, as regard education, it should only be incidental to the attainment of the object of the trust. Even if you are carrying out any business, it should be incidental to the attainment of object of the trust. And you can treat this, this will not be treated as a business income. However, in case of New Noble Education Society, Honorable Supreme Court has told that if you are charging excessive amount, then it will be treated as a business income. But if it is not excessive, if it is reasonable, and if it is incidental to the attainment of object of the trust, you can carry out these activities. But it should be exclusively for the student of your institution.
Yes, sir. But separate books have to be maintained or not necessary?
It is advisable to maintain separate books of account.
Akhil sir, should we continue with the questions, or can we take up 2 more questions and then wrap it up? As you say, sir.
Yeah, please. Yeah, we can close it, but any questions you can send it. Maybe later on we can take.
Yes, sir. Arpit Ji is raising his hands since long, sir. Unka sir, I think last question take up karte hain. After that, we can wrap the session.
Yes, we should close it, yeah, please.
Sir, I have 2 questions. Sir, ये जो ITR 7 में JB schedule है, details of corpus investment deposits under section 11.5. तो सर अप टू लास्ट ईयर ये था कि जो भी 11.2 में एक्यूमुलेट किया और सरप्लस है सबका जो भी इन्वेस्टमेंट है वो यहाँ पे देना था. अब इस साल इसका मतलब यहाँ पे एक ही चीज है कि सिर्फ कॉर्पस इन्वेस्टमेंट है, उतना ही एफडी मींस मेरा 100 कॉर्पस है और मेरे पास सरप्लस और सब मिला के 150 11.5 में इन्वेस्टमेंट है, तो सिर्फ 100 का ही डिटेल्स यहाँ पे देना है.
करेक्ट, कॉर्पस का ही देना है पूरा.
तो लास्ट ईयर जैसे सब अलग अलग था वो अभी इस साल से नहीं देना है ना?
नहीं, एक बार वापस आपका क्वेरी बोल दीजिए.
सर मेरे पास अगर 100 रुपीज कॉर्पस
शेड्यूल जे के बारे में पूछे. यू आर आस्किंग फॉर शेड्यूल जे?
सर जेबी और ये फर्स्ट मैं जेबी के लिए पूछ रहा हूँ कि डिटेल्स ऑफ कॉर्पस इन्वेस्टमेंट डिपॉजिट्स अंडर सेक्शन 11.5.
शेड्यूल जीबी इज वेयर?
जेबी सर.
जेबी, ओके, यस आस्क फॉर, यस नाउ आस्क.
सर मेरे पास 100 कॉर्पस है और मेरा जो भी सरप्लस और सब पुराना जो भी पीएनएल बैलेंस है उसके सामने एफडी या इन्वेस्टमेंट 11.5 में 150 है, 150. तो यहाँ पे अभी इस साल से 100 का ही दिखाना है.
Only 100
टू लास्ट ईयर. हाँ, मतलब एक्सेस जो एफडी है वो सब यहाँ पे नहीं दिखाना है,
वो नहीं आएगा यहाँ.
और
देखिए बड़ा सिंपल है. शेड्यूल जे जो शेड्यूल जे है वो कॉर्पस का है, करेक्ट, बड़ा लॉजिकल है. तो शेड्यूल जे ए जे बी जो भी शेड्यूल्स हैं वो उसी से लिंक होंगे आपके. तो जो इन्फॉर्मेशन भी देनी है हमें शेड्यूल जे में जो हमसे पूछ रहे हैं कॉर्पस का पूछ रहे हैं, और शेड्यूल जे ए और जे बी उसी के बारे में हमें इन्वेस्टमेंट का देना है. वेरी सिंपल.
ये जो
यहाँ पर ऑलरेडी क्या है, शेड्यूल में जो ऊपर है ना आपका, जो आपका डिटेल ऑफ कॉर्पस में, यहाँ पर भी अगर आपने कोई फंड्स मान लिया यहाँ पर, ये दिस इज 3. सो 1421 के पहले का भी अगर कोई फंड है which has not been applied in any earlier year, that information is to be given here. तो जैसे वो फंड भी अगर आपका 11.5 में नहीं है, that may become taxable here under this last column number 10.
सर
तो वो
वो
फंड आपका taxable है if you are having any corpus, if you are having any earlier corpus earlier to 1st April 2021, and if that corpus is not invested in 11.5 mode, that will become taxable in the year, because there is an amendment from 1st April 2023 in 11.1D. They have mentioned that all corpus investment should be in the 11.5 mode. If it is not invested, it should become taxable in the year in which it has ceased to remain. However, law has not specified. Law has not specified that in which year this amount will become taxable if it was relating to 1st April 2020, earlier to 1st April 2021. But
Sir,
this will become taxable.
सर राजेश जी, सर वो तो शुरू से ही आपको सारे जो इन्वेस्टमेंट थी 11.5 के मोड में ही रखना था, और जिस साल में आपने
कॉर्पस के लिए कॉर्पस के लिए वो कंडीशन नहीं थी, वो कंडीशन उन्होंने असेसमेंट ईयर 23-24 से 11.1D में स्पेसिफिकली जोड़ दी. सो नाउ फ्रॉम दिस ईयर दिस शेड्यूल बिकम मच इम्पोर्टेंट.
करेक्ट.
सर ये ट्रस्ट में जो एक ट्रस्ट कॉर्पस होता है और अरमार्क फंड होता है, तो अरमार्क ट्रस्ट हो गया जो कॉर्पस में जो 11.5 में इन्वेस्ट होगा और उसमें जो भी रहेगा. पर जो अरमार्क फंड होता है कि जैसे उसको बिल्डिंग फंड हो गया, एजुकेशन फंड, तो उसको कहाँ पे रिफ्लेक्ट करना है, क्योंकि वो तो फंड हम जब मतलब यूज होगा तो उसमें से यूटिलाइज कर लेंगे वो फंड.
अब देखिए, अगर आप किसी फंड को कॉर्पस फंड की बजाय ईयरमार्क फंड में ले जाएंगे तो ईयरमार्क फंड इज लाइक ए वॉलंटरी कंट्रीब्यूशन. Earmark fund is like a voluntary contribution other than corpus. If it is not with a specific direction by the donor that it should be towards corpus of that fund, then that will be treated as a voluntary contribution that should have to be spent within 5 years. As regard corpus, it can be spent within an unlimited period. And as regards voluntary contribution, the limit of 5 years will come into play. So if it is earmark fund, not with a specific direction towards corpus, not covered within 11.1D, you will have to spend it in next 5 years by way of form number 10.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you so much to each and everyone, sir. It was not a seminar; it was a panel discussion basically, and this recording is available on the YouTube channel of Views Exchange CA Study Circle. I would personally like to thank all the speakers for the day, and I would request CB Sinha sir to offer an official vote of thanks.
Thank you, Naveen ji. A very good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of Views Exchange, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to each and everyone for gracing us with your presence. I would like to express my deepest appreciation to our esteemed guest of honor, CA Sushil Kumar sir, CA Akhil Jindal sir, CA Rajesh Mehta sir. We are truly honored by your presence and insightful words you shared with us today. I would also like to extend my sincere thanks to CA Nitesh sir and Naveen Singhal sir. Have a wonderful day. Thank you very much.
Thank you everyone. Thanks a lot to everyone.
Thank you, Ji.